then, here we go. So it's another episode of the Uncivilized Art podcast. I'm your host, Blumi Hazan, but I go by Bandit Haze in the online space. And today, my guest. Oh, I should have asked before we started. How are we addressing you these days?
You know what? Listen, man, I'm still raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still raw Wilson. So at the end of the day, still go by that because on my channel, and if you want to link it, it's okay. I haven't been on there. We probably get into it later. I'm still raw Wilson there, and my intro is still my word to make a video today. This is raw coming at you raw. Um, if you remember
Raw
that.
dog. Yeah.
Yo, now hold on. That's a
Well,
whole nother
hey.
meeting. That's another meeting. You know, goodness gracious.
but but yeah, we are going to talk about YouTube and a bunch of other stuff. And
And you
before
can say Wilson. You can say Wilson
we can say,
and all that
okay,
other stuff.
cool.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
We could, well, Mr. Wilson. We're going to talk YouTube
Yo,
and a bunch of other stuff. Before we get to that though, let's talk. Yeah, a little about you. So tell us about yourself. You tell us, what you've been
hmm
doing. I mean, I
yeah,
know you're a geek, but let the world know about your
yo,
geekiness.
man, brother. I tell you this, man. As far as in the gaming scene and the geeky scene, been watching a lot of movies. Look, let me say this. This is not no plug for YouTube Premium, but man, I subscribe to YouTube Premium and watching everything without ads and such, and also the movies that be on there. I recently watched it's called Heat. Um Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I watched the movie with not Al Pacino. It's called King of Comedy.
Right,
Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and and these are just old movies, right? These are just old classics. And my brother's trying to put me on Majestic is another movie that is from Jim Carrey's in it, and that's on YouTube. So I've been watching a lot of movies, and then when it comes to shows, I've been watching a lot of anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to shows,
Right.
you know what I mean. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm just keeping it 100 with the geekness. Um, but with, I guess I got to name the anime. You know what I mean? I can't just drop that and just not say
Well,
nothing.
you can name a few.
So
I mean, anime goes
okay, I'll
deep, so
just
you can
name.
name a few.
You're right. You're right. Anime keeps going. Okay, so I'm trying to remember because I'm just watching this stuff, and okay, so it's an old anime. It's Full Metal Panic. I just finished, and those of you who like the oldies and goodies, you would know what that is. Is it the animations, the story? Um, what else? What else? Uh, okay, my mind's drawing a blank when it comes to all the other animes. But moving on from TV shows, I'm playing games, but I'm actually playing one game. So you heard of Ghost Recon Wildlands, the
Yeah.
awesome Xbox Game Pass subscription, another plug, right?
Yeah.
Gives access to a lot of Ubisoft games. Now Ubisoft Plus is I think it's called Ubisoft Plus. I think that's now a new subscription that just kicked off. But game
Wait, is that
Ghost
included
Recon,
without no extra cost with Ubisoft Plus?
no, unfortunately, you got to pay for Ubisoft
Ah,
Plus. But
so yeah.
Microsoft made a deal. Microsoft made a deal with Ubisoft before they moved out the house. Um, to hey, let me keep the kid for a little longer. You know what I mean? So some of Ubisoft kids are still in Game Pass, and Wildlands is one of them. And it'll leave eventually because you want your kids in your house. You don't want them in someone else's house.
Mm,
So
mm.
while it's there, I'm trying to knock off some achievements there, and it's a real good game. I really recommend it, but play it before Game Pass kicks it off because then you're gonna have to spend money to buy the game. But Game Pass costs money too. But anyway, that is the list, and sorry if it was, you know, I went on for a little bit, but
That's
that's
so good.
the geekage that's been going on with me.
Wildlands, I think, came out some years back though, didn't it? It's not a new game.
Oh yeah, it's old, man. It's old. But the 4K update they did for the Xbox One X uh, a while back when the Xbox One X was a thing, because Xbox Series X, as we know it, it replaced the Xbox One X. It was a 4K native patch for the game, and it looks as if it did come out, this year. It looks sharp, it looks good, but it's running in 30 FPS. And I don't know if you want to bag on those who like the cinematic experience, but
Mm.
30 FPS, you get used to it once you play longer.
Is it a fast-paced game though? Because I feel like if it's a fast-paced game, the 30 frames per second
Hmm.
might not hold up so well. But
Mm.
if it's a bit maybe slower, then you might get away with it a bit more.
Hmm.
So
Oh, most definitely. It is slower. It's like a stealth. If you ever heard
okay,
of
cool,
Tom
cool.
Clancy,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Clancy about that stealth.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Let's talk a little bit about Game Pass for just a quick second, because we talked
Okay.
about Game Pass a few times on this podcast, so maybe get a few
Oh yeah.
opinions on that from you. I mean, I'm a big
Yes.
fan of Game Pass. That being
Yeah.
said, I did actually cancel my subscription recently.
Oh
Um,
dang.
and the reason for that, it's not like I don't hate it, nothing like that. I mean, maybe I'll come back to it at some point. But the reason for
Yeah.
that is for myself. I just felt like I got Game Pass. I just signed up
Hmm.
to um, the PlayStation Plus one as well. And of course, you got
Mm.
your Netflixes and your these, all these stuff's going out. It did kind of feel like I had a lot at one time, and the truth be told, I wasn't really playing much of Game Pass at this moment. Like I'm focusing more on
Yeah.
other games and stuff like that. So I just felt like I don't want to be spending money on something that I'm not really touching. And
Yeah.
so as much as I feel like Game Pass is fantastic, especially if you've got the top package where you can stream the games as well, like the cloud service, I do feel like this is kind of an inherent problem with these services that eventually you're just gonna
Mm.
have too many of them, and you can't have them all at once. Which is just gonna get too much. So how do you feel about sort of Game Pass and potential future of
Mm.
services like this, whether it's you pay a certain amount of money, you've got like a
Mm.
Ubisoft one, the PlayStation one, Nintendo have got their own version. There's all these different services where you pay a little money and you get a whole bunch of games. It gets a
Yeah.
bit much after a while, right?
Oh yeah. I wanted to say this, all right, because I don't want no one calling me a Xbot because all I did was name Xbox related things. I got a PlayStation, I had a Nintendo Switch. So I got a laptop, so I got well, okay, it's a MacBook, so I guess the PC Master Race wouldn't accept me if I knocked on the gates. But at the end of the day, I play everywhere, where the games are, wherever. But I will say this, Bandit, like um, Game Pass. Let me say this. All right, after saying all that, you know, Game Pass is a beautiful, beautiful deal, but I feel like it's gonna ultimately bring the downfall of gaming. Let me tell you why. Because ownership is big. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
anything that tries to take away ownership from you, I feel is a issue. Is a deep rooted issue. And I'll say this, man: ride the train while it's on the track, because eventually this train is going to fly off the rails. And I'm getting benefit while I'm on the train. I got my parachute ready though, but I'll say this, you know what I
Fortnite.
mean? Oh yeah, yeah, that's free to play. Yeah. But yeah, I know. Just jump on Fortnite when Game
Yeah.
Pass flies off, because you got to understand, right? Like, look at the recent examples of Microsoft, because Xbox and Microsoft they won Redfall, right? You know what I mean? Folks literally are saying, "Oh, it sucks. It's in Game Pass. I didn't have to pay extra for it." That
Mm,
shouldn't be. That shouldn't be a quote for your service. You put it on a
mm,
commercial. It sucks, but it's cheap. You know, like,
mm,
like at the end of the day, it is a train headed towards a cliff, but it's a good ride. We on the train, we drinking mai tais, and we eating ribeyes and sirloins, and we're eating spaghetti and meatballs. We're eating good. Now you might say, "Hey, you just said Redfall sucked," but there's a lot of other stuff on Game Pass that's awesome that you don't have to pay extra to enjoy. Like I said, Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game when it first released, I wasn't gonna buy because it felt bad to me. Now it's on Game Pass. I download it, and dude, I got like hours in it now. And you know what I mean? So we eating, man. People who know how to utilize the service, we're playing games we never played before. You know what I mean? I never ate snail, but I'm eating, you know, and I'm eating these dishes that never existed in my refrigerator, you know? I'm tearing them up. I'm tearing them up. And like I said, you know what I mean? Good until is not good. And at the end of the day with Game Pass, it's like Netflix, right? But for gaming. Is Netflix good? You know, watching these movies and not really owning them. That's a discussion in itself. And I'm sorry, I'm being I'm being long winded with
Mm.
this answer, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I want to switch the question on you. What do you ultimately think on Game Pass, man?
Well, let me say this real quick before I answer that. I have actually tried Snell. A few months ago, I have tried Snell, and you know what? It's actually quite nice. It is. It's very weird. We put it in your mouth. It feels very weird. It's very chewy, but you don't really taste the Snell so much because they do cover it in lots of butter, and that kind of thing. So you get like the herbs and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know what? Snell's actually quite nice. So if
Salute
you
to Snell.
yeah, indeed, indeed. But yeah, so Game Pass, I feel like, I mean, I think the idea of it is great. For somebody like
Hmm.
myself, I never
Yeah.
really collected games in that way, so I'm not overly concerned about the fact that I don't have a physical copy.
Mm.
That doesn't
Hmm.
bother me as much.
Yeah.
And these days, I don't get to play as many games as I would like to. So having a service where you pay a relatively low amount of money per month and you can play the games, it's not a bad
Mm.
idea. And I think it's a great idea. I think if you're somebody who can just stick to that one service, which I'm sure is what they hope you do, then you can get a lot
Yeah.
out of Game Pass, whether you use it a little bit or whether you use it a lot. You know, you're only paying. I mean, over here it's like I think it's like £12 a month over here, and I think it's like $15 in
Yeah.
America. So you're not playing like it's not breaking the bank. If you play like, I don't know, a few hours a week, you pretty much get your money's worth. You know what I mean? And you can range from that to range to play in hunt, 20, 30, 40, or however, if you got time for that. So I feel there's definitely a range of people who could fit in and get, a good amount of good out of it. But I think I personally, I don't know how many people fit into my specific category because although I don't get to play as many games as much, let me start again. as, as though I
Go ahead.
don't get as much time to play games as I'd like to, I do still like to play, different games, like play a little bit of this, play a little bit of that. So, and not
Yeah.
all those games are on Game Pass. Some of them are on PlayStation, some of them are on PC. So it might be that
Mm.
I'm playing one game, then I'm playing another game, and then next week I'm playing a different game, and then next week I'm playing a different game. I'm just kind of going like bit
Come
by
on.
bit, and because of that, it gets a bit harder for me to kind of justify, like I was saying before, spending the money on Game
Mm.
Pass when I'm not really
Mm.
playing it.
Okay.
But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like my case is I don't want to say unique, but there's probably not many people that do it like I do. So I think for most people, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
going to be fine unless you're into collecting. Then of course it's an issue because you don't get to have a physical copy of the
Mm.
game. And I think the
Yeah.
more say insidious side of things, which
Mm.
we haven't really seen, but maybe seen potentials of it, is where a
Mm-hmm.
game could be made, put on the service, something gets changed later down the line, and
Mm.
you don't have access to that original copy of the game anymore. You just only got the new version. And for the most part, we're
Yeah.
talking about minor bugs and fixes and things like that, which is great. But every now and then, it's like, wait a minute, they changed something about the character, or they changed something about the story.
Yeah.
And again, so far it's only been tiny insignificant things, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of what they call it, a snowball effect, or that
Oh yeah.
that maybe eventually a couple of years down the line they're changing whole sections of the game, and then because there's no physical copies of it, you only have that new version, and you just cannot
Mm.
access the old game. And I have no problem, of course, with people changing things because
Mm.
it's inevitable. But if you have a physical copy, if you want to, you could always play that original version, and just enjoy that original version. With everything being digital, and you see this happen in music, as well. You see that happen in movies with the streaming services. Something gets changed, and that original version is just
Yeah.
gone, and you just don't have access to it. And I think that is one of the biggest potential shames that so far we haven't really seen in a big way in games, at least as far as I know. But
Okay.
it's something that you kind of see inklings of that it could happen eventually. But overall, I think things like Game Pass are good ideas. But yeah, I just feel like eventually you're gonna have so many different services. You can't have them all at once. You're gonna have to either pick one or maybe cycle them
Mm.
out from time to time. Have Game Pass one month, have another thing the next month, stuff like that. Um,
Right.
and or I don't know if they could ever do some kind of conglomerate thing where you just pay one monthly fee, and then
Mm.
they just dish it out to whoever you play it, or something like that.
You know what I wanted to add too, brother?
What's
That
that?
freaking Game Pass, right? Xbox Gold is bundled in with it. So,
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think is that the top version only though, or is that all the versions, all the
that is,
levels, whatever?
I believe it is Ultimate. So it's the top version. So if
Okay,
you just got Game Pass without Game with Gold, you got to buy them separately.
okay.
At least that's from my understanding. But that's another issue, right? Because we're paying to play online. We're paying to pay online, and I understand. And on the PC side, it's free, and
Hmm.
people are like, "This is Microsoft. They should allow game, online gaming to be free here too." Um, I think there's a bit like an invisible security wall when it comes to you have to pay to play online here because you see a lot of hackers and modders in free to play games on console, but not a lot more so than PC. Right? In PC, there's mountains of hackers and the mountains
Yeah.
of the so this invisible wall of Game Pass, I believe, kind of maybe shields not Game Pass, Games with Gold shields those hackers and stuff with it, but again, I feel like as a subscription service, um, you know what I mean? Like if gold was gone, we might get Game Pass cheaper because what is it by me is $15 because
Hmm.
that's the thing. If it's going to raise in price again. Everything is raising due to inflation. But over by you, I don't even know. You got different currency over there.
Yeah,
Do
but
you
it's the
remember the price?
same options. But yeah, the top package I think is £12 a month over here. 11.99,
So is that
£12 a
equivalent
month.
to like 15?
That Yeah, that would include that's the ultimate package. So that would include like the Xbox Gold and play online and
Mm-hmm.
also the streaming, the cloud gaming
Yeah.
service as well. But yeah, I think you're right though. I think they at some point they should do some kind, or at least give you some kind of option where, for example, I don't play a lot of online games. So if you gave
Mm.
me an option that said you didn't have the online playing option, I'm good. You know, what I mean? I'm good.
I I
So
think they do have that option, but I'm not sure because I'm over on the ultimate. I think the normal Game Pass is without gold, but I don't know. What's your stance on gold? Do you think they should drop it? Because again,
uh,
I mentioned that invisible barrier
yeah,
to
I
what you
mean,
think about gold?
of course, the more you can get for free, the better, right? I mean, that's what it's
Yeah,
always going to come down
yeah.
to. But if and I that's the first I've heard, to be honest, about the paying for gold or paying for online
Hmm.
helps to prevent spammers and not spammers, what you call it, hackers and cheaters and stuff
Hackers,
like that.
yeah.
Um, so if that's the case, then yeah, I guess that's something worth contributing
Mm,
towards because nobody likes people cheating, and of course, the more you can do
hmm.
to mitigate that, the better. Um,
Right.
Hopefully they could find a way of having these things that don't involve having you pay extra. Um, but yeah, I guess I don't have a major issue with gold or even or the PlayStation version where was it plus when he plays online with that.
Hmm.
I don't have a major issue with it because it's kind of been like that for a while and it's something where it's kind of a take it or leave it type thing. I've always kind of had that kind of attitude towards it. Um, and yeah, I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, if they can make it so that it can be cheaper, or you don't have to pay to play online, of course that's even better. But if for whatever reason
Yeah.
they need to charge for it, as long as it doesn't get to like some kind of ridiculous price or whatever, then yeah,
Okay, I'll put a period on the gold connection with Game Pass. Put Game Pass in the normal. Um, put gold in the normal Game Pass. If it's only in the ultimate, you should put it in the normal Game Pass and ultimate, right? To make it valuable, why it's more money. Ultimate includes obviously EA
Yeah.
access, which is all of EA game subscription, and obviously it gives you priority. And I don't know if this is true. It was with Gears 5. I believe when Gears 5 came out, they gave Ultimate subscribers priority. Like you can download the game before others. Keep that energy, but then again, you got to have games to do that, right? Microsoft
Right.
don't have no games, and
Well,
when
that's
games
no
they
whole nother
do
thing,
come
isn't it?
out,
That's a whole nother
yeah,
thing.
man. Yeah, when they do come out with games, right? They broken like Redfall. So at the end of the day, to make Game Pass Ultimate more appealing, uh like I said, gold should be in both packages. Um
Mm,
but priority, right? For games to release, make deals with third party and say, hey, your game is gonna we're making a deal, so your game, if you got an ultimate subscription, you'll be playing it a week before everyone else. Make those types of incentives.
mm,
And games with gold, I would say drop that G, because those games with gold be garbage every month, man. I would say put that money and resources towards those third party deals, like I mentioned, and therefore, make that ultimate more ultimate feeling. Because right
mm.
now, it's only ultimate because of Game Pass. I mean, Gold, Xbox Live Gold is in it. I truly believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bandit. Maybe if you do some, put a disclaimer bubble above my head, like this man don't know what he talk about. Gold is in
Yeah.
both services. I truly believe the first Game Pass service without Ultimate is Goldless. I want to, I could look it up right now.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
up, you
do
got,
like a quick
yeah,
search or something. But
yeah,
just keep going. I'll try and do a quick thing. Was it
yeah,
Xbox?
yeah. Does Xbox Game Pass include Gold?
Game
That's all you need
Pass
to ask. And
uh,
I wanted to also say why
levels.
I think Game Pass, because I can feel the Xbox getting their pitchforks, right. I say I'm trashing Game Pass. Okay, the reason why I said it is obviously I said ownership is important, and not having ownership, you know, look at like I feel like the developers in the back of their head, they're like, these people ain't gonna own it. You know what I mean? They're gonna just play it, and Microsoft's giving us a buttload of money, so let's not go all out with the game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, if I was making you something that I knew you were gonna like, if I'm an artist, so if I draw for you, I know you're gonna hang that picture up. You're gonna have that picture until you don't. I want to make sure that picture is on top tier quality. But if I know you're just gonna see it only when you come over to my house, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna just. Of course, my passion, my love for art should still make that piece amazing, but that extra pressure that this is leaving my possession and going to you, you're gonna hold it in your house, and it's gonna be my name in your house. People gonna walk in your house and see that art and say, "Who did that?" That pressure is gonna push me to innovate, to push me to
mm,
do more, and I feel like the quality of games is hurt by they're not gonna buy this. They gonna come to my house to play this and look at this, man. Like, I'm gonna put this thing out. Example, Redfall, and many other examples. You know what I mean? Now you can make the argument, well, Jedi Fallen Survivor isn't on Game Pass or any subscription service, and that came out bugged and messy. You're right. You're right. You're right. But at the end of the day, I
yeah, but
feel
that's an
like
EA game though, so.
low key, it could be coming to EA access, right? That's probably why
No,
they made it like they're
I'm,
like, man, it,
I'm, I'm being petty. I'm being petty. Allow me, allow me. I mean, to be honest, I've not played Jedi Survivor, so I have no idea how good or bad that game is. I didn't like the first
hmm
one though, so I don't think I'll
You
be
didn't
trying
like the
Jedi.
first one?
I don't like the first one, so
Wow.
I'm not trying. I'm not looking to play Jedi Survivor anytime soon. But apparently, I've heard it's good though. I have heard people say it's good. So,
I haven't played it yet. Oh, and the last thing I'll say this and let you answer the question of if gold is in Game Pass,
yeah,
normal. The last thing I was saying was about Game Pass flying off a railing. Well, I think I did mention it. Quality and ownership. Those are the two things. Okay, go ahead. Answer the question. Yeah,
yeah,
that was the two
cool.
things.
Yeah, I'll respond to that as well, actually. But yeah, so get Xbox games with gold, or
Uh
game
huh.
Xbox Live Gold, rather they call it. That's only on the top service, which is the ultimate one. The other options like the Game Pass PC, Game Pass for console, and then You know, they don't. There's Xbox Live Gold, which you can get just separately anyway. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, the other options for Game Pass, they don't include the live. It's just the Ultimate that includes it. So yeah,
See,
you are
that's some
right.
bull crap. Yeah, that's because I would literally, I would be walking out on, beautiful games like Mass Effect Trilogy, the remastered, because that's an EA game and that's on EA Access. Dead Space is on EA Access. EA has some games. Now, you know what EA doesn't have? I don't think they have day and date with Madden or FIFA. I don't think those games come out day and date. Like MLB The Show this year came out day and date with Game Pass. That's a salute. EA should be doing that with their games. That would make the ultimate service more ultimate feeling. But I would downgrade to, I don't know if you saw the prices, but I'm sure that the normal Game Pass is cheaper than the ultimate. So I would downgrade to normal Game Pass. I don't need all this ultimate
Mm.
stuff. Give me
Yeah, no, for
gold,
sure,
give me your
for
games. Yeah.
sure. Game Pass for PC or Game Pass for console, depending on which one you prefer. They're both the same price. But yeah, I mean, if you're not overly bothered about online games or the cloud gaming, and that to me is the biggest draw of the Ultimate is the cloud
Mm-hmm.
gaming because it means you can play on your phone when you're outside. And I've
Mm.
used it when I had the X Ultimate for a little while. I did play on my phone
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's a pretty cool option. But to be honest, it's not. Oh, it's not that necessary. You know, it's cool to
Yeah.
have, and it's cool to try it out and have a novelty. Like, yo, I'm on my phone, and I'm in my car, and I'm playing this
Mm-hmm.
game, and I'm playing
Mm-hmm.
a top tier, AAA game on my phone with the control. You know, it's a cool option, but also I didn't feel it was
Yeah.
necessary. But yeah, if that's more of an important thing to you, then yeah, that's going to be a consideration. But other than that, you're probably fine
Mm.
with either the PC or the console version of Game Pass.
I like online gaming, so I'm forced to get Ultimate, right? Uh, so I do enjoy the competitive. If anything, anything else will put me to sleep, man. I'm real bad with that bandit. Like if I play freaking PvE games, player versus environment games, man, I just nod off. But if I'm in a PvP and I'm going against real people, I'm awake, man. But that I'm forced to get Ultimate. But I would say move that gold to both services
Yeah.
because it's messed up, man. We shouldn't even be paying online anyway. Because again, going back to my reason, the cheaters and the modders or whatever. But come on now, you know what I mean? Like put them in both and just make ultimate more ultimate.
Mm.
Um, some other way. But I don't know. But that was my stances on Game Pass. It can hurt game quality if Starfield come out and it's a 10 out of 10, or in Phil Spencer's words, 11 out of 10, right? Then I'll eat my words. I'll eat my words. But as far as today, Game Pass hurts game quality. You might say, oh, what about Hi-Fi Rush? Okay, that was an exception. That's not the rule. That's the exception. Um, Halo Infinite came out messed up. Before that, okay, Forza, they always come out good. And like I said, we're Microsoft doesn't have a lot of games to really pull to use to kind of justify any stance. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll let you take it.
No, that's fine. But yeah, just in regards to sort of Xbox Game Pass hurting quality, or guess any kind of service like this hurting
Hmm.
potential quality. I mean, yeah, I think there is a potential for that. I mean, I mean
Yeah.
for myself, I can't speak for a lot of those games because I don't always get time to play a lot of games. So I hear about these stories about some games coming out and they're bad and this and the other. But I can't speak for personal experience, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
But yeah, I do see there is a potential that developers might not be putting as much efforts into certain games because it's on Game Pass. Maybe they've already guaranteed a certain amount of money for this game anyway. So it's like, okay, because I feel like the whole kind of metric of how you measure success changes when you're looking at things like Game Pass. Like before you look at, I mean, by the way, when I say success in these terms, I'm talking more about financial success. Although, just to be clear, financial success is not the only type of success. As for I don't
Hmm.
believe that. But in,
Yeah.
in, in regards to this, we talk how well a game sells. You can look at specific numbers. It sold this much in this country, this much in that country, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
With Game Pass, you don't necessarily have that because you might have a massive amount of people playing it. That
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean a massive amount of people like it.
Yeah.
but it's still people playing. And of course, you look at maybe how many people play next week versus how many people play the following week, and you look at that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the metric of how you measure how well a game does is different. And so far as I know, Microsoft don't release those figures too much, or at least not in any real
No,
detail
they
of how
don't.
many people are playing. They might say something
Oh,
like this was the
engagement they do.
they do. Okay, okay.
They do, but they don't talk about sales, right? They talk about engagement. They all about that. Tencent is a company that talk about engagements. They don't put out hardware, so they can't really talk about
Right.
sales. But you
But did they
know,
give like
Sony
specific?
obviously talks about sales.
Did they give like specific numbers of how many people are playing each game on Game Pass? Did they do that?
Oh yeah, they be saying how many on State of Decay 2, the recent example. They were saying these how many zombies have got killed, or these how many wheels popped. And I think another recent example is Outriders. They was talking about look how many people played this game, and they were really bragging about engagement.
Okay, no, fair,
And that's
fair.
one thing. That's one thing I'll say, Bandit. That's good about Game Pass. If I'm an artist, yes, I want to get paid. But if I know 1 million people versus 1,000 people can see my art, you know what I mean? That's pretty, high. You know what I
Mm.
mean? That's pretty tight. Like that's one thing Game Pass allows, right? Because I believe more people played Hi-Fi Rush than freaking what's that game that came out on the Sony side? Enchantment? Not Enchantment. That's a movie from Disney. What's that game with the girl with the talking cuff? Um Forsaken.
Okay.
Forspoken? Forspoken. That's
Forspoken,
what it's called.
Forspoken. Right, right, right.
Forspoken. Yeah. So more people play Hi-Fi Rush than Forspoken. And it helped that Hi-Fi Rush was a good game, but at the end of the day, as an artist, people playing my hair as a cook, people eating my food. I'm like, yes, eat my food. As many of y'all, with mouths. So
Yeah.
that's one thing Game Pass allows. That it lets no boundaries. I don't have to buy this game. I just gotta download it. I already got the subscription. I can just download it. So indie developers, small games, Game Pass works wonders for them.
Yeah, for sure.
But for big games, I feel like those big games, they get lazy, man. Like too many lazy
Yeah.
games come out.
Yeah, and I
Go
think
ahead,
that's
quality.
I think no, yeah, I think I'd agree with that, at least in kind of the principle that Game Pass helps, but I think you need the bigger games to draw people in, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But ultimately, I do think that services like Game Pass benefit
Hmm.
smaller games more,
Yeah.
because you put out, if you're a small indie developer and you're putting out a game on Steam, for example, unless you've got like a massive marketing budget, you
Mm.
might not be able to get it to as many people as you might like to, unless of course you
Yeah.
get that one lucky hit that everybody brags about and everybody, you know what I mean, that sort of thing, which
Mm.
is rare. Whereas something like Game Pass comes on and says, hey, we're going to give you, I don't know, £10 million, whatever. I don't want the money, but you give whatever money it is and say we want your game in Game Pass, and it's like, well, we got a guaranteed payday, or we could take a risk, and especially when that guaranteed payday is a pretty big amount of money, you know what I mean. A lot
Yeah.
of times you're just going to go with that, so it helps them
Oh
financially,
yeah.
and also, like I say, as long as you can make a good game that people resonate with, people could talk about it, and then maybe the next deal you can negotiate bigger money. But
Yeah.
then, like you say,
Yeah.
with the bigger games, it's like you could maybe negotiate the big money because they're already going to bring a bunch of people in. But whether they're good or not, people are going to play them.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people are still going to complete them. And you're still going to have that kind of engagement. You're going to have people who just play these games. They'll hate playing it, but they'll still play it. And they'll
Yeah.
work their way through it. And they'll do that. It's not something I'd recommend, but some people do that. And then the bottom
Oh
line is
yeah.
you've made a game that you haven't put as much effort into, that still got played. And I guess, to be fair, if that's the way people are, consumers are taking and consuming games, there's not really much we can do about that. It's just is what it is, right? It's the unfortunate side of it is
Yeah.
that, yeah, you might potentially see. In fact, I guess you kind of see this already with certain games where they get released buggy, because they already know they've got like so many people interested that the sales are going to be like through the roof from day one. And then it's like that whole kind of thing about you release the game buggy, patch it later. Bloody Cyberpunk 2077 didn't get
Woo.
patched properly for what, a year or some crap like that. It was a while before it got patched properly.
Man.
And if you bought that game brand new on day one and you couldn't, and it was in an unplayable state for however long it
Mm-hmm.
was, that's, your £60, $60, £70, whatever it was that you paid at that time for a game that you couldn't play for, 8 months, 9 months, a year later. That's
Come,
crazy.
wow, yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy, but
yeah.
that's the world we kind of create when we seemingly, at least a lot of gamers seemingly are willing to put up with that. We'll complain about it, but we put up
Mm,
with it, So
yeah.
you know what I
And
mean?
Game Pass
I guess we're
is gonna
part of the
make
problem in the end, right?
we are, and Game Pass is gonna make that worse because again, I literally heard people with Redfall, oh, it sucks, but it's on Game Pass though.
Mm.
Like that what you just said is happening even more so. And look, I'll say this on the record for folks listening, like, oh man, Raw is against Game Pass and Xbox. He's a hater. I will eat my words if Starfield comes out on point, if Hellblade comes out on point. We know Forza going to come out on point. Like from here on after Redfall, if Microsoft put out quality titles, because Phil Spencer's recent interview on the Dudes That Kind of Funny Games XCast, he said, right, like finally is about to happen.
Hmm.
Like every other quarter, these games are going to come out, and if they don't need to be, they just need to be quality. They need to be like somebody's favorite. Somebody's favorite. I don't think Redfall is anybody's favorite. So, like I said, I will eat my words because I'm on the mindset of these people don't want to work. These people don't want to put quality games. But if they prove me wrong, because again, you can make the excuse for Jedi Survivor and the latest Sony's Last of Us remastered on PC, buggy mess. You know what I mean? These games aren't in subscription services and they came out messed up. So, you know what I mean? People can point at those games, but you know, look, I'm paying for the subscription. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing games. I'm eating snail, whatever game that compares to. But you know what I mean? Like I said, I will eat my words if after today or after Redfall, Microsoft just puts out quality products and I'll say, you know what, Game Pass, it didn't affect quality. It's still bad with ownership, but I'll take that
Yeah.
one negative away. But go ahead.
Oh no, no, that's cool. I'm just thinking. I want to make sure I note this part of the part of the podcast, so that if I need to like cut this bit out of the video
Oh
and say
yeah.
you're gonna eat your words, that we could make sure I can find it easy
Yo,
and
hold
put it
on.
out.
Oh snap! I just did that, huh? I'm just gonna clip this and say this is when Raw.
Keep this one in the vault just in case.
Oh man, just in case. Look, Redfall's coming out later this year. Excuse me. Gosh. Well, the patch will be to make it a little better. But anyway, Starfield is coming out later this year, so you don't have to wait too long. And the Microsoft press conference, isn't it happening? It's happening in June, but ain't Sony's big press conference happening next week?
I think. I mean, I did hear something about a press conference. I didn't really read much into it though. But yeah, I heard something about some kind of event they were doing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I
But
guess
it's
so,
you know
yeah.
what, here's the thing. Like I do try to pay attention to gaming news, but there's so much of it sometimes. I'm just kind of like,
Oh yeah.
I just put it down. Like I
Oh
see
man.
stuff, but I don't see everything. Because it's a bit much.
Right.
It could be a bit much. So I'm like, all right, cool. I think IGN was posting something about some PlayStation event. It's like, all right, cool, and then move on.
Word. Yeah, man. But no, look. At the end of the day, I'm a gamer at heart, so this stuff is in the back of my head.
Mm.
So you know what I mean. It's exciting. It's exciting to talk gaming with you, bro, because I haven't been doing this
Been a
in
minute.
years.
Been a minute.
Yeah, man. Like, no,
And
don't lie, man. It's been years.
with that, that might be a good segue actually into the other bit I want to talk to you about, which is YouTube, because you did start a YouTube channel about gaming some years back, and you ran it for a little while, and then you decided to step away from the YouTube space, and I guess that was a few
Yeah.
years ago now as well. So yeah, talk us
Mm-hmm.
through that. Talk us through like why you started the YouTube channel, like how did that start came
Oh
about,
yeah.
your journey on YouTube experiences, and then why you decided to step away from it. Like, what was that whole journey like for you?
Mm, man, okay. Obviously, beginning. Shout out to my co-host of the Gaming Talk podcast that we ran with Prince the Gamer, Fresh Prince
Yeah.
the Gamer, and me and him, we would used to talk all the time about gaming, and we would just really just go in on our phones and on our gaming headsets. And I met the guy in Killzone, Shadowfall on PS4, the launch title for that console in 2013. And I met a lot of my friends from my gaming friends family from Killzone, and that game was such for Microsoft because it was a first person shooter and multiplayer heavy type experience that Microsoft is known for. When in 2013, don't get me wrong, Xbox One it botched the launch with a lot of messaging, but it came out with good games. It came out with awesome games, but it didn't have any like multiplayer focus centric games. I guess they were relying on Call of Duty at the time, but now the marketing rights are for Sony. But anyway, I was going off on a tangent. But anyway, I met all my gaming friends on the PlayStation 4 because of the botch messaging for Xbox. I went PS4 instead of Xbox, and I met Fresh there, and we just instantly, just connected with each other's love for gaming and love to talk about gaming. And we just kept doing it, and we did it off the mics, off the recording. And we just one day said, oh, well, I just one day said, man, we should record this and just put it on the internet, man. And that's how I started, man. But okay, Fresh, shout out to my cousin Nardi. He loves Xbox. The botch mentioning the botch messaging of Xbox One plays into this. He said, I watched this podcast. Shout out to this other podcast I watched, the Iron Lords podcast, and there's this uh, guy on there named King David, and he's been making the rounds in social media saying, "Hold the line." Well, before King David, my cousin Nardi was that Xbox fan. Man, he was hold the line. When Don Matrick set a match to the doggone boat at Xbox and lit it aflame. My cousin was like, hold the line, and he stayed there, and I went to PlayStation, and I was trying to get him over to PlayStation, so I started posting videos on my channel, just posting gaming related videos. And this was a personal channel. I started, actually, no, it was the gaming for days raw gaming channel on YouTube channel. And I just started posting cool stuff that was happening in PS4, Killzone. I made a compilation. You can go to my channel right now and scroll all the way down. That compilation I made for my cousin to get him to switch from Xbox to PlayStation. So that actually started the channel and started my YouTube gaming hobby that became a job because YouTube started paying me eventually when I hit a number. But I'll say this, that was just like the thing that me and Fresh did that really just took off, made the channel go into this like, hey man, we gonna invite the community. We're gonna, like, for instance, you, right? I saw your videos and I was like, man, I want to get this cat on the podcast to talk gaming. And a lot of Turtles Live, a lot of other Static Ninja, a lot of other small YouTubers. We were all growing together because I was small too. We were all growing together. And that podcast me and Fresh started was really that, I guess your word, snowball effect that led to the growing of the channel. And oh yeah, giveaways. Oh my goodness, people love free stuff. So I would literally be like, man, I gotta put up I guess some money in this channel to make it grow because you got to spend money to make money. and I put like gift cards from Xbox, PlayStation. People were joining in like not raffles, but it was like giveaways type deals. You can actually go back in time on my channel to see some giveaways, and that helped a lot too. So if you want to build your channel, throw money at it, but not only throw money at it, throw money at people. You can have a booty butt camera, and if you throwing money at people, they're gonna come. That's look, that's literally how my channel. Now, look, quality is important. What you're saying is important, but at the end of the day, money is people's gods, man. You throw money at in the street, they're gonna come to your house. But anyway, um, that's how it started, and that's how it was maintained. Obviously, through content and through the giving back to the community, because they don't give us anything, Bandit. They just press. We just hope to you press the like button. So if you're watching this video up to this point, press the like button and just say something in the comment section, because YouTube looks at that as engagement, and it helps support your creator. So put a comment, even if it's just a thumbs up. You hear me? I used to say, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. No, give this man a thumbs up, because at the end of the day, this man is, giving you content that he hopes you enjoy and hopes that you like. So put a thumbs up, man. And um that's how you make the channel grow. You know what I mean? I don't know if you want to interject or say anything that or comment on anything I said so far before I get into why I stopped. Do you have any
Um,
questions before I get to that portion?
all right, let's see. So, I mean, yeah, okay. So, like, starting out with, just PlayStation and going with PlayStation because Xbox kind of messed up their launch games and things like that. So you went, you're like, screw it, let me just go with PlayStation. And then you met some people through the PlayStation, through Killzone specifically, trying to get your cousin onto it. So you just put up these videos. So I guess initially you just started out as just a thing. Just you got YouTube, you just want to put some videos, have a little fun. But I guess as people
Yeah,
find your videos and watching the videos, they like your videos. It's like, all right, cool. And then I mean, this would have been. I know you mentioned that YouTube started paying you before, so maybe some newer listeners might not know this, but would have been when YouTube changed before YouTube changed their monetization procedure. So
mm,
yeah, you could get paid on YouTube with like 2 subscribers, you know what I mean, back then. So it
yeah,
was like you could
yeah. It was
start a
good times.
channel and pretty much right off the bat you could be getting paid. If you got like you're getting a certain amount of views. So that's one of the cool things about YouTube back then. But they had to change that for other reasons. We'll get to that, but there was reasons why they had to change that. Anyway, but yeah, that's the sort of journey so far. YouTube started paying you, thought, okay, cool, I can make some money from this. Let me take this a bit more seriously. Doing the giveaways, like say, spend money to make money, and
Yeah,
seen it more as a career. And that's where we're up to so far. Is that right?
yeah. We got there.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any questions? I think I've understood that so far. Um,
Hmm.
you were playing Killzone, you said, wasn't it? Are you?
Killzone Shadowfall.
Yeah, because I think I remember you playing No Man's Sky as well. Was
Oh
was that
yeah,
a,
No Man's
was
Sky.
that a big game on the?
You know,
Was that the beginning or was that more towards the end?
definitely in the beginning, No Man's Sky. You know what's crazy? Me and Fresh jumped on Fortnite when it was nothing. You know what I mean? And when they introduced Battle Royale, I literally was about to turn my channel into a Fortnite channel. When they introduced Battle Royale, they were copying Player Unknown's Battleground, aka PUBG,
Mm.
because they saw how successful that game was. And shout out to Epic Games with Fortnite. They turned that game into this rinky dinky uh uh build a house to fight against fake zombies or monsters, to this, you know, metropolis, or this successful IP that so recognizable throughout the whole world now. And it's so big, it's so massive. I'm not gonna say it's bigger than Call of Duty. I still think Call of Duty is bigger. Folks would play Call of Duty over. But shout out to Fortnite for adding no build mode. So the Call of Duty players are now saying, I don't have to build a skyscraper in the middle of a match. Let's go. So, Fortnite blew up, right? So me and Fresh, we were gonna do a Fortnite channel. We were just gonna turn the channel into a Fortnite thing, because I saw the potential. We were playing the battle royale, right? We used to cheat the system, right? They didn't have doubles, so what we would do, I guess I could say it now because it's the past. We would load in. We would press the start game button at the same time, and it would match us up with each other. And it was all everybody was 1v1v1v1, but me and him, we were 2v1v1v1. We were like shooting next to each other and helping each other. We were on the phone because we didn't want Epic to hear us on the game chat saying, "Hey, they cooperated. Kick one of those mothers." So
Yeah.
I was on the phone. You know what I mean? I was on the
Yeah.
phone, so we were just like coordinating that way. And like I said, we was like before the battle royale saying we need to make this a bigger thing, and we didn't pursue that. Um, Obviously, we didn't pursue that because if you stuck with the channel around that time, I made everything you should know about Fortnite video, and it got a lot of views, a lot of traction, and did well. But I didn't stick with it because I'm a gamer, man. I play every game. I don't stick on just one game, brother. And currently, I know I sound like a hypocrite. I'm on Ghost Recon only right now, but it's because of doggone achievement. That Ghost Recon game has a bug that kept me from getting the last achievement. So now I'm like running through it again to get that one achievement. After that, I'm deleting the game, dog. I'm just because I played that game too much to not get that one achievement to pop. And when that do, I'm deleting it and I'm going to other games. But yeah, man. Why did I go on a Fortnite tangent?
Yeah, play Fortnite, and then you did a video about everything you need to know about Fortnite, but you didn't want to stick with Fortnite because you like to play other games. And then you
You
kind
know what?
of
You know what? Let me transition. Since we're here,
yeah.
let me transition this into why I left. Right. So you, like Bandit said, YouTube used to be different back when I was doing it, and monetization was different, and they turned off my ads on my channel. Putting ads on my channel and getting money from it. They turned it off because the song. If you were to go back to my channel and just listen to the intro song and the music that plays throughout the video, I made that in my car, right? But this is the issue. I made it on GarageBand, and they claimed the rights to the song, and they said, "Nope, that's not yours." And they said, "You better stop the music or you ain't getting paid." But now looking back, I should have just turned off the music and kept going. But I I was being stubborn. I was like, "No, man, that's my music. I made it in the car in the back seat." But like I said, GarageBand did that to me, and YouTube collabed with Garage. It was actually some weird channel that claimed the song, and they demonetized my channel, and that hurt because no more money.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh, let me make a Patreon," and I did that for a while, but I didn't know what I was doing. Like I still don't know ins and out about Patreon, but it's a big way for creators to make money. But I like the method of send your creator a tip. So if you get higher in YouTube, I don't know if it's still the case, you can press the tip button and give them that.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean? YouTube right now is so different. I would have to relearn everything. But anyway, that was the first strike. The second strike, when it comes to me leaving the platform, was you know I wouldn't even count it as a strike because I love doing it. The podcast, getting everybody together, editing the videos, all that stuff. It 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 also I guess my real life, my job outside of YouTube at the time, that was it was a lot of work, right? You're trying to you're trying to put out content, you're trying to put out content daily, and you got to go to your 9 to 5 and then back to the grind on YouTube. But I loved it. I forced past it, but it was weighing on me. It was weighing on me, and the final strike is actually kind of sad. Uh, it's not YouTube related at all. You know what I mean? Uh, I I I was in college at the time, and when I pulled the plug on YouTube, and like most young men, where their hormones are just popping, and you're just
Okay.
young. You know what I'm saying? You're just young. I felt in love. with a young lady, and we were going some places. I was telling her about the channel. I was gonna bring her on the channel. I was going like, yo, man, man, this is the one, man. This is the one. And all you men out there who have felt in love understands this. And her friends and family didn't like me. And I think that was and the reason why they didn't like me, I don't want to say, okay, look, y'all know what a snow bunny is, right? So
Okay, we're talking about.
talk about the white woman. Listen,
Okay.
listen,
Right.
listen, man. I live in Texas, so in New Orleans, everybody is a sister and a brother. Everybody black, and then you got some Asians and you got some Mexican. You really not really a lot of Mexican, but everybody mostly black. And your only option is chocolate. So when you go to Texas, you now got vanilla, spicy vanilla, chocolate, um, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you got all these different flavors now,
Right.
and
Variety. You got variety.
variety. And this girl, right? Her family and her people looked at me like, you know what I mean? Like this dude ain't. He just trying to smash, man. And really feel because black people got that stereotype about them. Like we just want to run through women or whatever. I don't know if that's the but if you look at the media, y'all, you look at our music, that's literally what we rap about. We rap about drugs, sex, and all that other stuff. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, at the end of the day, I wasn't, I, I, I was somebody that their family was like, man, don't waste your time with him. And their voices was louder than mine. And she had a lot of things she was going through are in her past too. Yeah, I'm not going to disclose here, but she was going through a lot of dealing with a lot of baggage. I'll just say that. And I tried to help her with the baggage, but you know what I mean. It was too heavy. It was too heavy, and she broke it off. Right? She had her family in her ears saying, get this man. You know what I mean? Like, come on now, you wasting time with this dude. And I know I kind of alluded to it being a race thing, but I'm not gonna play the victim here. I'm just saying at the end of the day, um, it felt that way because
Yeah.
you could just feel when I went to because we Christians and I went to church with her, and you could just tell folks were just looking at me like, everybody. It was like the black bunny in the snow. You know what I mean? Everybody was, you know, they're looking at me like. Anyway, all I'm saying is it's not a conclusive conclusion that she was talked out of being with me or whatever. But anyway, it broke my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought we was going somewhere, and I was just depressed, man. Coming out of that relationship and doing YouTube was an afterthought. And again, you might say, "You're big baby. You should have manned up and just continued working." But nah, man. Like I think I was in my late 20s my late 20s, and when you're that old, you know what I mean, you think you found somebody, you know what I mean, you like you really like thinking about marriage and all that stuff. You get that close to the girl, and then she just breaks it off because of unsurety or uncertainty or outside voices and past trauma, all that other stuff. And I believe that was a good thing. You know what I mean? What if that happened after I married her? Oh, I don't want to be with you no more. You know what I mean? That would have sucked. Then we would have had to, go through that. But
Sure. Yeah.
I'm glad we broke off before that. But anyway, it still affected me, man. I was so depressed. I was getting rid of everything because in my head I'm like, oh, I'm not man enough. I'm over here on these games and on these video games, and I was just, telling myself like, oh man, I need to become better as a human being, as a man. I need to get rid of these toys because that's what games are. Games are basically toys for men and for kids too. And I just started throwing them in. I mentioned I'm a Christian, and I just heard it in my spirit. Don't get rid of that stuff. Don't stop YouTube. Don't do these things. That was God telling me now, looking back at it. But I didn't listen because I was like, nah, man, You was putting in my head that I was gonna fall in love with this woman and we're gonna get married, and then I ain't listening to you. So I got rid of my YouTube, I got rid of my games, I got rid of everything. I was just like, man, I'm about to hit the money train. I'm about to just go after that money. However way I can get the money, I'm gonna just build up myself. And you might say, oh, that's a success story, Raw. Focusing on yourself to become more wealthy and more successful. But dude, what I was doing with YouTube is what I see cats doing now. Like I mentioned, the Iron Lords podcast, they're bringing the community in and stuff. I was doing that with my YouTube channel, and me and Fresh, we had such a great relationship, but my depression pushed him away too, and a lot of my co-hosts, and so crazy. It's so crazy looking back at it. And like I said, I was on my grind saying I want to be this and be that, but I walked away from something that literally made me happy. It really was a blessing, man, to people, and people would literally tell me like, "Hey, man, your podcast every week brings like a smile to my face, and when I'm feeling down, man, your podcast really was helping me." I got messages behind the scenes like that. But when you're in depression, you focus, you zero in on yourself. It's all about you and how you feel and stuff, and it's a bad place to be. I'm glad I'm out of it now. I learned so much from it, but when you think back, I'm like a dummy. I wish I could go back and slap myself because, dude, I got rid of so much equipment and so much stuff, thinking that the way was a way from this life. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's the story. That's the story, man, of,
Wow.
of my rise and fall of YouTube, man.
Yeah. You know what?
Sounds
That's
petty at the end, though. Go ahead.
yeah, and I was just saying that's. I mean, I knew that of course he did YouTube and knew it starts, and I didn't know the in between, but man, that's a lot, you know. Um,
I'm sorry, I trauma dumped on you. I'm just kidding.
no,
I'm,
no, no,
I'm,
no.
I'm,
Hey,
I'm
listen,
I
listen.
forgive and forget.
No, no need to apologize. Seriously, no need to apologize. Like, I mean, I one of the reasons why I started this podcast is to have real conversations with people, in the geek
Yes.
communities, and to talk to them about things,
Yeah.
because there's so many things that connected to geekdom, that doesn't always get mentioned, and these kind of real conversations is part of it. Depression, mental health, how we feel about things
Yeah.
that we do outside of gaming, and how that affects our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned earlier actually today about success. Money isn't the only form of success, and I feel like that kind of ties into this a little bit. Because it's
Yeah,
kind
it
of what
does.
I mean by that. That's success isn't just this one thing. Because a lot of people tell you about get money, get positions, get power, get
Mm-hmm.
this, get that, and that's all fine,
Yep.
well and dandy, whatever. But the truth is, if that's not what you're about, success
Mm.
to you might just be playing your video games, like say bringing a
Yeah.
community together, having
Yeah, man.
fun, just enjoying
Man.
life and just being. Because when you go on that kind of hustle grind, it could be so stressful. It could be so
Yes.
stressful, and that could even cause even more depression because you're just doing things that
Mm.
you don't really want to be doing, but now you feel like you have to
Yeah.
do it because you kind of put yourself in a position where it's like this, because and you got to get this, you got to get that. So no, I'm glad that you found your way kind of out of that, because that could have
Yes.
been maybe going from one depression to an even worse depression, So
Yeah.
I'm glad you found your way out of that, because success to me is like figuring out who you are, what you're about,
Yes.
what's important to you, what you're
Yeah.
passionate about, and then keeping those things
Yes.
in your life as much as possible. And of course, we all
Mm-hmm.
got to make money. We all got bills to pay, and you got to get a
Yeah. We got
job and
bills
this,
to
that,
pay.
and the other. But
Yeah.
as much as you can still keep these things in your life as much as possible and make time for the
Mm-hmm.
people that are
Mm-hmm.
important to you, the things that are important to
Yes.
you. And
Yeah.
so what if you're not earning the big bucks, as long as you know that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing something that's within what you're capable of, within your own morality, within
Yeah.
your just, and it also just gives you you got your bills paid and all that sort of stuff taken care
Yeah.
of, and at the end of it you still got time, money, and just energy left over for the things that are really important to you. And I think that is a success that we just don't talk about enough. So yeah,
Yeah, man.
big up man
Family.
like Alex Raw.
Uh, lo- Yo, I tell you, brother. At the end of the day, you hit it head on. You hit the nail on the head with the hammer, man. Because success, you know what I mean. People, a lot of money is successful, but when things go bad in your life, when things go bad, like I have a friend that recently lost her mother. You know what I mean? I can give her $1 million. That's not gonna bring her mom back, or how she deals, or how we deal with tragedy, how we deal with depression, how we deal with just the day-to-day problems. You know what I mean? If you deal it correctly, if you deal it right, if you don't fall apart when the storms hit you, that's success to me, man. You know what I mean? Like, we got people who are rich, Robert Williams, Michael Jackson, um, uh, Whitney Houston. These people had money, and they ended up killing themselves. Like, these people were quote unquote successful. These guys crumbled when the storms and when their problems took them took them off the floor, so success to me, yeah, is more than money. It's how you deal, how you get through your storms, your daily storms, your life storms, man. That's success. If you can go through your storm smiling, that's success. Come
Mm.
on now, you about to have me start preaching up in
No, that's all
here.
right. By the way, just a little clarification because you mentioned killing themselves. I'm assuming you mean sort of drug issues and sort of that sort of thing and problems with like.
Oh yeah. Robert Williams, and I don't know if YouTube doesn't like you might have to censor these
Oh no, no,
parts.
you can
I
say it.
think
I don't
YouTube.
actually. I don't know who Robert Williams is, but I know about Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. Um,
Michael Jackson, he over Keith Ledger. That's another successful person who got a award for his awesome role as Joker in
yeah,
Christopher Nolan's film, The Dark Knight. But he overdosed. Obviously, we know that. But
yeah,
Robert Williams, he hung himself. And Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, they drug abuse. Now, people were saying the doctor killed Michael Jackson, but come on now, like ah, that I feel like that's a cop out to make Michael look as the victim. But Michael was dealing with some demons. You know what I mean? Whitney Houston was dealing with some demons. Will Robert Williams, Keith Ledger. Keith Ledger actually was on record saying he got into the role of Joker so much that he really just messed up his mind, man. So, like I said, man, these guys had money. And just
yeah,
look at the current people who are alive. You know what I mean? The people who are currently alive. You know what I mean? Like Hollywood is a high divorce rate. You know what I mean? These guys get with each other. They and then that money talk and the commitment walk out the door. Like it's crazy.
mm,
Like, we look at celebrities so much in this world as the golden standard. My friend, she wants to be famous. You know what I mean? She wants to be famous, but at the end of the day, look at all these famous people. They jacked up. Want to be jacked up? At least I'll be jacked up with money. Like I said, when the storms hit, that money ain't gonna save you. But no buts. I just named examples where the money didn't save them. But yeah, man.
no, for
Yeah.
real. It's like you hear people say things like I'd rather be crying in a Bentley than a Peugeot, or stuff like that,
Yeah, you hear those jokes, yeah?
and it was Gary V that said something about people who say that sort of thing have no idea what depression is, and I feel that's true. I mean, I'm not claiming to understand depression in that deep level, but I feel like for myself, where anytime I felt like just that little bit of depression, and how that could be debilitating, that you kind of think, well, if that's the little bit you went through, people who really go through it, how are they feeling just on a day to day? I've heard people talk about feeling like you're so depressed, even just getting out of bed is a win. Like that's
Ooh,
how depression could really hit you. Um, so yeah, I think when people say that sort of stuff about I'd rather be crying in the Bentley or whatever, it's like, yeah, I don't think you fully understand what you are asking for,
hmm,
because like you can be in that
yeah,
Bentley and you could be in the Peugeot, but when that depression hits you, it's not going to make a difference.
yeah,
It's just going to be, in fact, it
yeah.
might even be worse in the Bentley because like all the things you might have had to
It,
do to get there. So
yeah, and I'll just add Paul Walker, right? This man was successful Fast and Furious movies. He died in his fancy car. Like, that can
yeah, he
happen
died in
too.
a
You can
crash.
die just like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like, life isn't guaranteed to you. Tomorrow isn't promised to you.
Mm.
So you get rich and then come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's I mean, I like I say, like we all need money, and we you know, I try to act like
Oh
don't,
yeah,
but yeah, I just feel there needs to be a better balance
have a job.
between,
Don't be a
you
bum.
know. Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, I just said have a job. Don't be a bum. Amen. I guess if you don't work, you don't eat. Yeah, that should be in the back of your head. You know,
Mm.
I ain't saying be a hobo. All I'm saying is don't make money your god. Don't love money because money don't love you. Money can't love you. It's
Mm.
fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I feel like I had to learn that lesson myself from some years back, where I mean I used to work in sales, right? And obviously
Yeah.
you know sales can be very money motivated. And
Mm,
the interesting thing actually that I learned kind of after I left the sales environment is that to really be good at sales, you actually should not be money motivated. It's actually
mm,
better to be more
mm.
people orientated.
People are in.
Yeah.
Amen.
But
Yeah.
I didn't realize that till like much later. When you're in the environment, everybody's all about making money, making money, making money, and
Yeah.
yeah, it could be great because you can make a lot of money in a short amount of time,
Yeah.
legally,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Woo.
legally. But then it
Oh
could be
yeah.
really stressful when you have those days where you're not doing so well, and you feel like, you know, you feel just absolute shit. You know what I mean? You just feel so
Yeah.
bad because you didn't get that sale,
Yeah.
and you don't get the next sale. You go for a whole day where you barely make anything, and the next day you coming in, and then you got this guy who's like taunting you and teasing you, and you're trying to outdo that guy. You just got so much in your head about this competition, about being the best, and it's just such an
Yeah.
unhealthy. I mean, I would say that I feel like sales, if you could strip down sales to being more people,
Mhm.
if you could strip down the sales, take the sales culture out of sales, it could be a great job.
Yeah.
Right, that's how I feel about it now. Take the sales culture out of it, it could be a great job. But yeah, that sales
Yeah.
culture I was in, like it's great when you're young, you're making money, but it can get
Mhm.
real stressful, real toxic. And then it's not, and to be honest, it's not even until I left it that I kind of fully realized how toxic it was, and how much it kind of like put me in such a bad mental state. I didn't kind of realize that till much later. So I didn't leave because I thought it was bad. I left, you know, for other reasons, and it's just kind of thinking back on a bit
Yeah.
like, man, like that really kind of put me in a. But yeah, I do still feel that I've learnt a lot about people from doing sales. So like I said, I don't hate the idea of it, but certainly the
Yeah.
environments that they tend to create and the cultures that they tend to create, it could be bad. It could be real
Oh
bad.
yeah.
And the environment I was in, nowhere near as bad as some other environments out there.
Oof.
It can get a lot
Oh
worse.
man.
Um,
Tell me where you are again, if you don't mind.
but where in the world you mean, or like London?
Yeah, in the world. You don't need to tell me your address. I don't want people sniping you.
Yeah, no, London, England. So about 6 hour difference from Texas. Well, I think it might depend on which part of Texas you're in actually, because Texas has two different time zones. So
Yeah.
I think you're in. Well, let me not say
Whoa,
because
whoa,
you
whoa,
don't
whoa,
want to,
whoa.
but
Don't be pinpoint, man. I don't want nobody
yeah.
sniping. Come
I mean,
on, man.
oof,
Gosh, Lee.
zip,
You
zip,
about to
zip,
tell them
zip.
my whole everything.
We
Yo.
matched up the time
But
zones
no,
to get the podcast right though, so we did agree.
hey, exactly. But I didn't want to derail you off of what you were saying, but because what you were saying about sales being people oriented versus being money oriented, that is so true, bro. And to be honest, man, that if everybody was more people oriented than money oriented, we would have more mercy in the world, more forgiveness in the world, more patience in the world. But a lot of people want that money because that's the god of this world, money. You know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. It can
Yeah.
get real bad. I just feel like, yeah, just have the money you need, and if it's your luck that you end up with more money than you need, then great. But to be in that mindset of more, it could get real bad. It get real bad.
Oh,
It's not
most
healthy.
definitely. Like I
You know.
said, don't be a bum. Work. If you don't work, you don't eat. I feel like you shouldn't even retire. I don't know if you want to. I'll just say that. I feel like you shouldn't even retire. A lot of people are like, what? No, I want my beach house on the beach. I just said that twice. Beach house on the beach. But people want their cake and they want to eat it. Listen,
Yeah.
man. I hear this saying: once you retire, you expire. Once you stop moving, like I learned this because I've been going to the gym recently, and I've been going to the gym for a whole nother reason, not even to get bigger. but for a whole nother reason. I don't know if you want to get into that, but all I'm saying is if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So don't stop
Mm.
moving, people. You know what I mean? Don't be a bum. Don't stop moving, man.
Oh no, for sure. And just to kind of add to that whole thing about retiring, like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, of course, nobody wants to be working forever, right? I get that, but I think what you meant. Let me add to this, so you can let me know whether this is what you meant or not. But just finding
Mm-hmm.
things to keep doing, because nobody's gonna wants to go to their office job for the rest of their life. I get that, but you want to find things to keep doing. You want to find things to keep you busy. You want to find things that you enjoy. Find things to work towards. Find things that occupy your mind. Find
Mm,
things that excite
mm,
you. You know,
mm.
you know,
Oh,
it
okay.
like
Mm-hmm.
no, I was just gonna say that
Okay.
though. My
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My,
Go
my
ahead. Go.
dad, when he retired, like he pretty much just sat and watched TV, and then it was kind of sad, because like he worked for years to, make sure we got food on the
Yes.
table and
Yeah.
this and the other. So on one hand, it's like, of course, he
Salute to
earns his
that.
rest, right? He's earned his rest. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, you could travel, you could go ahead, and he's just like, no, I just want to watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like for
What,
myself, I'd want to
what,
keep doing something.
keep doing something. Okay, so you're saying I don't mean uh go. What you're saying is you hope I don't mean keep a 9 to 5. In a perfect scenario, you have your own business, right? And you're you're
Okay, yeah,
you're
yeah.
checking in on it. You're checking in on it, and you're making sure it's going the right direction until you you know until you die, until you die,
Okay.
and that alone will keep you moving. But most people in the world don't have their own businesses, so their only option is a 9 to 5. Now, I will say this: I knew a guy who he did retirement. He did it for a couple years, and then he said, "This is boring," and then he jumped back into the sales and the 9 to 5s, and he did it, and he was moving and all this other stuff. And this man kept his body from deteriorating. You know what I mean? He would the coworkers around him would say, "Man, this man built, man." I was like, "That's a married man, though. You better get off that, man." But like, but you know what I mean? Like, listen. If you got a business, right, or if you want to start a business, Morgan Freeman didn't really become famous until he was old, right? Older. So you know what I mean? Don't. If you got something in your heart and your spirit to put out in the world, you know what I mean, that is a W to act upon. But like I said, most folks gonna, you
Mm,
know, default to the 9 to 5. And I'll say this, man, like, if you don't want to do the business avenue and all that other stuff, yeah, you said travel and all that, yeah, do that too. But you working, being a servant, serving people, like going back to the whole people oriented thing, that alone will help your mind
mm.
stay active, and so you won't get cold hearted, and also it'll help you keep moving because you can't do nothing at a 9 to 5. You got to still move, and you could limit it to maybe three times a week. You know what I mean when you get older. But I'm in that ballpark, my brother, of saying work until you can't no more. Because look, man, I know, like I said, go take your travel, take your vacation, salute to that. But staying, being a servant until you're done, it'll keep you humble, and it also will keep you attached to reality because the world changes so fast. There's old people who probably, like, shout out to your dad, but if you were to give him the news or whatever, what have you, or what's going on and how the kids talk and stuff like that, he probably wouldn't be able to connect. But if you're in the service industry and you're serving people, whatever that may look like, from restaurants to retail or from sales, like you said, in our cars or whatever job, something blue collar ish, right? They call them blue collar jobs, right? If you stay in those type of environments, if you're not going to do the business thing, your own business thing, if you're not going to do that, you're still in tune with society and how it's
Okay,
transforming
yeah,
and
yeah.
how it's, you know what I mean. So
Yeah, no, I think I see what you mean. I think I see
I'm
what
in
you mean.
that ballpark. Yeah.
No, I see what you mean. I
Yeah.
think no, that does make sense actually. I think. I mean, yeah, I guess it's like what works with different people. I mean, my because I think
Mm.
if you're talking about the idea of serving people, I guess there's different ways in which you can serve people,
Oh,
um,
most definitely, most definitely.
and it doesn't necessarily have to be this one specific way. And it could be just maybe finding ways that work with you, because.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're, I don't know, 95 years old, you probably don't want to be lifting heavy
95.
boxes and stuff like that.
Look.
But
I want to be able to
unless
lift
you want to be
heavy
strong
boxes at
95-year-olds, I don't know.
95.
You might
I
be, you
want
might
to.
be.
Hey, I'm claiming that on me. 95 lifting heavy stuff, being able to lift heavy stuff.
Hey,
But
but I mean,
I
you're
know
doing
where
the
you're
gym
going.
now,
Go
so
ahead.
it
Hey, I'm
might be
trying, bro.
just.
I'm trying to. Yeah, man. But no, I know what you're saying. Go. It sounds like you're saying you could do missionary work or stuff like that,
Yeah, just things
and
that like
hmm
helping out with maybe
yeah,
help with a charity or
yeah, and
stuff like that.
yeah. Shout out, no, that I guess that would go into the entrepreneur type business type deal where you're doing something that you're pushing forward or you're waking up to do. No, that I guess that falls into the latter category of the entrepreneur type mindset and
Mm,
hey, I'm going to do this thing. But at the point at the end of the day, I'm just saying stop. Don't stop moving. All right,
mm,
that's all I'm saying. Once you stop moving, that's when you got the red flag, the white flag saying I'm done.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. No, I'll get that. Keep moving as much as possible. Um,
yeah.
You mentioned gym actually. If you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about the gym actually, because
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
being healthy is important, of course, and
Health
I
is
think
wealth.
you've been going to the gym for a while because, or at least working out for a while, because I seem to remember you
Yeah.
posting some videos a while back about
Yo.
working out at your home.
Oh snap!
I,
You
I
bringing
think,
that
in
back?
fact, I believe it was like pre sort of pandemic, or maybe just around about the start of the pandemic. It kind of coincided, I think, with that era, if I remember correctly. Is that right? Where you were working out at home and
Yeah, we was working out at home, and I started posting videos, and I stopped that too. If you want to hear that reason, but I stopped posting those videos too. I started pandemic. They all forced us to go home, but I was still going to my job. But at the end of the day, most folks was locked down, and I was like, the gyms are closed. I had a membership at 24 Hour Fitness, and they became No Hour Fitness. You know what I mean? And even when the lockdowns lifted, they became 12 Hour Fitness, but the name still was 24, and I was still paying for a 24 Hour Fitness
yeah,
membership. I'm like, nah, fam, this not cool. So I was friends with the manager, and I told him, I said, nah, man, I can't be paying for 24 hours when y'all only open 8 hours or 12 hours. I said mentioned, and they said, yeah, you're right. And then he let me get out of contract with them without any pain, and I was happy about that because, like I said, I was basically paying for the gym membership. Uh, the same price before the pandemic, and everything changed. So I said, man, I don't got no weights at home. I don't got nothing. So I started using buckets and stuff, bro, with water in them. I started training like Tarzan, man. Like it was nuts. And then I said, you know what? Let me post some videos, right? And encourage people to be active during this time. And I did. I made a whole Instagram page, Snapchat page, all that stuff, social media wise, even a new YouTube channel with my gaming YouTube channel. Shoot, I tell you, man, if the pandemic happened when me, Fresh, and everybody was still doing our thing, dude, we would have during that time. But this is before I left YouTube, and then I went back to YouTube with the weight thing. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a weight training type exercise guy. And the issue I ran into was getting a big head.
all right.
You know
So
what I mean? Like, Philip,
yeah,
you all
so
right
no,
over there?
it can't. You know what? Sorry, but there was I think there's like an audio thing where it kind of dips every now and then. For the most part, it hasn't been an issue. But this last time, I did hear what you said. So what was that last bit you said? Sorry.
I said I started getting big headed, and
Oh,
I
okay,
was
okay.
like feeling myself basically, and I was like promoting my body as this advertisement to my YouTube channel and showing off my body. and was like, hey man, you know what I mean? Let's do this thing. And I got a lot of female responses and a lot of female attention. And this is after I fell out of love with this girl that I thought was gonna be my wife. So I'm getting all these female attention, and I'm like, feeling myself. I'm like, oh, okay, let me keep doing it. And some girls was in my DMs and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, and some girls went a little bit too far. They said one of those "show me yours, I'll show you mine" type situations, and I'm like, whoa, chill, because people be wilding during the pandemic. People were so lonely, But anyway, at the end of the day, I was in that bag, and I just heard God, the spirit in me, like, hey man, this isn't glorifying me. This is glorifying you, and I'm not trying to tear down anybody who has a workout channel or a business about getting people well. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, for me, I was glorifying me. I was giving glory to me, and I was just like, man, I gotta stop this. And I remember I told you on Instagram. I think I messaged you saying, "Nah, I'm gonna put this on private, man. This." And then I think I went back on my word and said, "Nah, I'm gonna put it on public again. I need to get more attention." I don't know. I think we could look back on those messages, and you replied. You were saying, "I got you, bro. You know what I mean? Like you understood what I was talking about." I think I told you. I was like,
No,
"Man,
yeah,
I'm out
I
here
think
promoting my."
I did think I wasn't thinking about that conversation, but yeah, now that you mentioned it, I feel like I remember it a little bit. Yeah, yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
buried
on the
somewhere, but yeah,
Yeah, I think the messages still exist if we went back on our messages,
yeah.
past log. But like I said, man, I was feeling myself, and at the end of the day, being humble is what my I don't know how a fly got in here, but but anyway, being humble, right? Being humble, and also, you know, I was about to get into trouble, low key, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, use self control, man." You know what I mean? But again, like I said, man, when people are praising you and giving you attention, people that you normally look. I had this crush at work, and she stumbled over my images and videos, and she literally was telling the whole everybody. And then another part, like some other girls came. It was affecting my real life job. These girls was coming to me saying, "Hey, let me see." I'm like, "Yo," like how women cry about being over sexualized and all this other stuff, but they all want to say chivalry goes out the window, or all the core, whatever, however you say it, goes out the window when they want something. You know what I mean? They're like, let me see that stomach, boy. You know what I mean? Like, let me see them arms, boy. You know what I mean? Like, if I would do that to them, sexual harassment. You know, but they do it. They was doing it to me, and at the end of the day, I was like,
Hey,
and
still
you
sexual
might
harassment.
say, yeah, you might say, or someone else might say, "Raw, man, get in there, bro." Actually, I have a friend that actually said that. I'm friends with this man, Johnny Beans. He's on YouTube too. Shout out to my friend Johnny, and he was like, "Man, all these girls coming at you, bro. Lay them out, bro. Lay the pipe down." He was basically the devil on the shoulder. I was like, "Nah, man." You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that it was leading down to it was leading down that road, man. It was leading down that road because I told you I'm a Christian, so I practice the Bible, and the Bible, say flee fornication and flee all these other things, and don't, let others praise you, but you don't praise yourself. But like I said, man, I had to back off that because my mind was going elsewhere, and I was about to go into some places I need to be, obviously. And at the end of the day, I stopped doing it. I stopped showing my body off, and I took some photos and videos in private and took it off. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to crap on others that do show off their body and stuff like that. But I will say this, you know what I'm saying? Uh, they call it thirst traps. You're literally trapping people. You know what I mean? Like if a woman's showing off her body, you know what I mean. You made many men slip just off that photo alone. You know what I mean. And women get off by that. Women get off by making men slip, and I was making women slip, and I ain't like that. I was like, oh no, I don't want to be the reason you fall into sin or slip in this way. So I said, let me stop. But well, the world is over sexualized, as you know, even today. But I didn't want to add to the sexualization. You know what I mean? I didn't want to add to it, so I backed off. But I still tell people to move. Right? I just said it. Right? Move. Don't
Yeah,
stop
keep
moving.
moving.
You'll lose it. Yeah, I said that. That's my motivational now. Eat right and don't eat before bed. That's how you get the tummy. So, I tell folks that. But yeah, I still go to the gym, and I don't want to talk for too long on this, but it was because, nah, that might be too crazy to say. But anyway, it wasn't because
But
I wanted my, what?
I mean, you made me all curious now, so you gotta say it.
Dude, hey man, what this channel is rated, man?
It's rated. Anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it. Well, I don't want to demonetize you, man. I said some heavy stuff already
That's
from
so good, man.
earlier.
I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about that. So
Oh, all right.
whatever you got to
Well,
say, it's so good.
okay. I'll just say this, man. And um, okay, look, generate men generate a lot of testosterone, right? Females generate testosterone too, but testosterone is a key to the human sex drive, um, especially in men. It's developed in the testes, and I'm going somewhere with this. Stay with me.
Right?
It's developed in the testes, and it goes past get to the rest of the body. But the sexual organ it has to pass up to get to the rest of the body is your penis. And brother, my sex drive was so high, and I was just like, dude, I am tripping. I am on fire. And some folks will say, "Hey, just go ahead and have sex." You know what I mean? Pull your willy and what they say in London? They say wank, wank, wank. Right? That's what they say. That's what they say.
Have a
So
wank.
I'm like, yeah, have a wank, and I'm like, no, man, that's not good, man, because again, I'm Christian, following the Bible, flee fornication, and that kind of stuff. I was trying to stay away from, but I fell in it a lot. I fell in a lot of porn, and I fell in a lot of um, sex and fornication and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like in the past, and I didn't want to go down that route. I wanted to stay away from that route, and because the thing that it connected to, right? Because there's three things, having sex with yourself, right, can hurt a male is penile fracture, prostate cancer, and erectile dysfunction. Those three things doctors don't want to tell you because they want you broken down there because they want you to buy their medicine called Viagra. But I want to be 95 lifting heavy boxes and lifting my wife up. You hear me? I want to be able to do all those things at 95. So at the end of the day, look, I'm not trying to shame anybody from self pleasure, but I'm just trying to warn you. You keep pulling that meat, it might not work in a few years. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I had all this sexual energy that makes me want to do all these bad sexual things that's against my faith. And I read that exercising is a great way to, testosterone down because that's what it's from. It's from the testosterone. Our biology, our males, right? We generate so much testosterone more so than women, so much more than women. That's why
Oh, yeah.
we hold sex at a higher value. We hold sex at a high value, and women, guess what? They hold attention at the same high value. So, sex for us is attention for them. Like a woman could literally if you had a jar of your sex and another jar of attention, which is ridiculous, sex in a jar, she would take the jar of attention drink it in front of you, slap the sex jar out of your hand, and laugh. Women hold attention higher than sex. And that's just been proven throughout just studies with women and men. Men have higher sex drive. You could do that, you can say. Now, obviously, we got hoes out here that bend over and body count is just astronomical. Those people do exist, but that's because their minds are jacked up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this: God didn't intend you to be sleeping with a bunch of men, and men same with women. But anyway, my sex drive was off the record, off the charts, and I started going to the gym because of it. And it's been helping me so much, Bandit. Like, bro, it's been help because when you're hungry, trash looks good. Trash looks good. Women that wasn't
Mm.
attractive now look attractive when you're horny outside your mind, and you make bad decisions when you are horny outside your mind. And exercising for me has been very good. Obviously, sticking close to my faith has been helping too. But and a lot of friends will say, "Dude, just smash, man." You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. But again, like I said, there's a lot of problems with that. Obviously, with sex with I already said the problems with sex with yourself, sex with another person. You can risk because you never satisfied. Men is never satisfied. You just keep going down the road, and hopefully you can find your wife and you find your one and only. But you know what I mean. At the end of the day, it tends to go down a path of because Tinder, all these rises of dating apps, OnlyFans, all this stuff that rose after the pandemic, it makes hooking up easy. Hookup culture took like steroids after the pandemic. And hookup culture just like, you know what I mean? But anyway, at the end of the day, like they tell me do those things, but I rather get stronger, right? Use my sexual energy to get stronger. And any men watching this, you got a superpower in testosterone. You generate two sources. I remember I was bench pressing, Bandit, and this hot chick walked past me. I was on my last set and I was done. This hot chick walked past me. Brother, my sexual drive kicked into gear. I started pushing that weight like I just started again. And men, you got a superpower in testosterone. I know we came from gaming to erections, but listen, all
Hey,
I'm
it's
trying
all
to
good.
say
It's all
is,
good. It's all
yo, all I'm
connected.
saying is, it's,
It's all
it's all
connected. It's all
connected
good.
because our hands that play the games is connected to the same body where our,
Yeah.
is. So, yeah, but like I said,
Either
man,
way,
like
you're
I said,
playing with your
you got,
joystick, so it's all it's all good.
yo, you better stop. Hey, man, all I'm saying is, brother, use your superpower, use your sexual energy to get stronger, brother. Because come on now, don't that sound appealing? 95 still banging your wife like you're a teenager. You know what I mean? Instead of using a Viagra pill, she look. I ain't gonna say because look, I'll say this. The statistics say men die faster than women. Like in the relationships, the man will die first, and that's usually the case because the men take all the weight, all the pressure, all the stress, and stuff like that. But let's say you outlive your wife, still, shout out to your past wife. That's all. Shout out. You like, man. I'm gonna remarry. And that's okay. If your spouse dies, it's okay to remarry. You know what I mean? Now you want to be able to stand up still. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't that sound like a good, appealing thing? Like, use your sexual energy wisely as you're young. So when you're old, you're gonna be like, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna be struggling. And look, all I'm saying is that's why I'm going to the gym, Bandit. That is the reason why. Because at the end of the day, dog, like I said, there was plenty of women between that girl, right? The girl that I fell in love with until I came I came into this place of stop. You know what I mean? But when I say plenty of women, I mean these women that could have been something, that could have been something more. But what these women between that woman that I thought I was going to be with forever and the point I am now, these women between those points, they just wanted to have sex. They just wanted to F. They didn't want what I wanted. They didn't want they didn't want to be a wife and a mother. And that's the crazy thing about this is the time we're living in. We're living in a time where um people people like look, like I said, I'm not trying to shame anybody, but boyfriend is just that. A friend that's a boy. A girlfriend is just that. A girl that's a friend. And if you have five girlfriends, yeah, people will say, "Oh, but no, that's my girlfriend." Just because you said it twice doesn't mean like like listen, that that special bond happens with sex and that thing like that is to tell God in your flesh, like this is me. This is me and her are one, or me and him are one. If if you're a girl, and at the end of the day, like I said, you know what I mean, throwing your butt around or throwing your penis around in the streets, you're disrespecting yourself and you're hurting yourself ultimately. But at the end of the day, that's who I had to work with for the between period of this girl I loved and wanted to marry to now. I literally just had to work with these people who, and my friend said, go to church, go to the church and find some there. They be freaky in the church too. Like this girl, like look, I ain't gonna say no names, but this girl in the church, man, like me and her was vibing, we were connecting. But then she started wearing stuff that's showing off her 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 tits and butts, and I'm like, what you? It look good, but that's not right. You know, don't look down. Don't look. Hey, don't look down. She say, what? What's down there? You better keep your eyes up here, woman. And then you got to go tie your shoe. But listen, at the end of the day, you know what I mean. Like at the end of the day, use your sexual energy to get strong. I'm trying to reconnect it to the gym talk. Go to the gym, exercise. Every man should be in the gym exercising because every man generate a lot of testosterone. Every man does. You should be in the gym. About 5 times a week, man. Like I work out, and dude, it's also healthy, right? You're doing it to use your sexual energy good, but you're eating right, you're working out right, because your gut is your second brain. A lot of nutritionists, a lot of people that's smarter than me, um, with degrees in nutrition or whatever, would say your brain is in your gut, your second brain. Your gut is your second brain. So taking care of gut health is important for everything. But I'm sorry, I literally went on a tangent. But I'm sorry. Go ahead,
That's
Bandit.
okay. It's so good, so good, man. This is your interview, so it's so good. I appreciate everything you just said. I mean, for me, it's like um uh let's see, like yeah, I think it's true to say use your sexual energy wisely. I think that's fair, a fair thing to say. Um,
Mhm.
I think I might
Yeah,
have
you.
a few different opinions on some other stuff that you said,
Hey.
but but yeah, no.
Hey,
Let
I
me
did.
let me look into that. That's for another. But yeah, use your sexual. I think that's a wise thing to say. Use your sexual because you're right. I think when you are with somebody, you are exchanging something more than just physical, and we don't always fully acknowledge that. I get that, and I don't, I don't want to, like I say, I'm not here to make no judgments on nobody. I'm not here to tell you what to do or you should do this, blah blah blah. None of that. Just in terms of what I think. And maybe for other people it's different. Maybe for other people they don't feel that, and hey, that's just what it is. What it is. But yeah, I just think like that there is that something that you share that kind of goes beyond the physical, and being with multiple people like that. I feel like for myself, the way I think about it is like if you think about relationships from a purely
Mm,
logical point of view, just purely
yeah.
logical, like take the emotions out of it, just
Hmm.
purely logical.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense to be with multiple women because you could be with this woman who
It
does
makes
this thing,
sense.
that woman who does that thing. But I think about like we're ultimately, at least for myself, I'm not a
Hmm.
logical person. We are emotional. We do feel things, and we
Yeah.
should feel things. And I know men, we don't often
Yeah.
talk about what we feel, and that's kind of like a taboo thing. Oh,
Yeah.
you talk about your feelings.
Hmm.
I get it. People like to make fun of that kind of thing, right? But we do feel and we are emotional, and we don't always acknowledge our emotions. And I think we should be acknowledging that one effect from people who I've known who have done the whole kind of friends with benefits thing. Not necessarily every time, but more often than not, it's the man that ends up falling for the lady, and it becomes a problem because what he
Oh
feels and what
yes,
she feels can be different. Of course, it's and sometimes the
yes.
other way around. What she feels, what he feels can be different, and that's always
Mm,
going to be a
mm,
problem. Now, I'm not telling nobody not to do it. That's your business. I'm just saying this is from what I've seen. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I just feel like for myself, it's like I don't want to put myself in a position where I could get hurt really, really badly. Now, of course, that being
Mm,
said, part of being in life, part of going through life is taking risks. And, you
yeah.
don't, and nobody gets through life without getting hurt. That's kind of the deal, right? No matter what you do,
Yeah.
you're going to get hurt. You're going to feel pain. Somebody's going to break
Hmm.
your heart.
Hmm.
Somebody's going to
Yes.
disrespect you. Somebody's going to do this. Or it's going to happen. You live long enough and it's going to happen. You
Yo.
cannot
Oh,
prevent
most
it.
definitely.
But at the same
Can't
time,
prevent
it's
it.
like, do I want to put myself in a position where the likeliness of that happening is so high? Um, will that temptation be real, man? Just leave it there. That
Yo.
temptation be real.
Yo. No, I wanted to comment. I wanted to comment on when you said it makes sense to sleep with a bunch of women and women to do the same. Actually, it don't make sense for women to do the same.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I don't think the same thing for women. Because see, men we penetrate. Women they are getting penetrated, right? Now, obviously, there's lesbians and there's homosexuals. And men in those situations get penetrated, and then and the lesbians in those situations, um, heck, they're still being penetrated. But anyway, well, they're doing the penetration, right? So in those instances, that does exist. But I'm talking about from just a because let's be frank, there's more people who think like the traditional way of marriage between a man and a woman. There's, now obviously the world is changing so rapidly. We're going to like Sodom and Gomorrah territory. But that's another topic for another day. But all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, women who sleep around versus men who sleep around. If a woman sleep around, you're getting broken into, right? You're a house that's getting broken into by different robbers. But a man, he's the robber busting into different houses. And if you just look at it from just that standpoint, who's taking the L? Who's taking the L? The house or the robber? The house is taking the L because if you got 10 robbers that bust through and they are robbing you of something, they're taking a little piece of yourself. Because every time you have sex with someone, you're giving a piece of yourself to them. And if you never see them again, guess what? That piece of yourself is gone with them. So it's a great analogy, in my opinion. You're a house, that's an L on you. If you say, "Oh, I got 5 robbers bust into me," if you telling your homies, and the homies looking at you like, "That's not good." But if you are like, "Dude, I bust through 5 houses," that's bad, but it's not an L in the sense of if you telling your homies like, "Dang, what you got, man? You got 5 houses, man. That you bust through 5 houses and not get caught because usually you're hanging out with people like yourself, right?" And I guess that can go both ways. So if you telling your girlfriends, "Oh, I got ran through by 5 men," and the girlfriends are like, "Oh," you know what I
Um,
mean? So
I'm not sure that is a good analogy, to be honest with you. I mean, if
I'm
you
just
took,
go
uh,
ahead, go ahead.
yeah, because if you're talking about like robbery, so to speak, that's maybe more akin to somebody getting raped. And
You know what? You're right. You're right.
you know what I mean? Like if you're raping people, that's an L on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh.
Always.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Okay.
that's
I said
never.
robbing.
You can't be.
Mhm.
Well, I guess somebody can brag about it if they want to, but it's not a good thing. You know, and I
You
hope
you know
nobody's
what?
considering that a good thing.
You know what? I was on this on the mindset of you have sex with someone, you give a piece of them yourself to that person. I guess we can do a car analogy. A car analogy, because if you got all this miles on your car, that's not a W. The lower the mileage, the higher the lower the mileage is, the bigger is the bigger win. If you're going to a car dealership and you're looking at what used cars, you're looking at used cars, you're going to go for the one with the less mileage on it. And if you get the one with the high mileage on it and take it back to your boys and say, I got one with a high mileage, they're going to slap you outside your head saying, you loser, you stupid. You're supposed to go for the lower mileage on that car. And, at the end of the day, in that instance, if we're comparing that to women versus men sleeping around, it's wear and tear. It's wear and tear on both bodies. Both bodies are adding mileage to themselves. If you're a man sleeping through a woman, you're adding mileage to yourself, baggage to yourself, and you're taking pieces of yourself too. And at the end of the day, that analogy works for both men and females. You know what I mean?
To be
Like,
fair, a car with high mileage is, they're typically reliable. Because they only could go the distance because they got some high mileage. So, they're not like just some crappily made car that broke after a couple of down the road. They can go the distance. They usually don't take much to maintain. Often cheaper to insure. So I'm just saying, plenty good reasons to go with high mileage.
If you had the option to pick up the same car, high mileage and one low, you telling me you're gonna pick the high mileage one because it's proven it's mileage?
You got to consider things like what's your budget, what can you afford?
If they the same price,
well, then I'm thinking there's something wrong with a new car. Like, why is that the same price?
No. These are not new cars. These are both old. Because let's be honest, dog. We're in a generation where no one's a new car. Everyone's got mileage on them. But you gotta, pick the ones with the less mileage. And
all right,
if you do pick the one with the,
let me say this. Let's put the analogy to the side for a moment, because I feel like they're not gonna help out. But let me just say, I mean, yeah, like you say, like we're in a society where lots of people are, whether hooking up or whatever, and it just is what it is. I mean, for me, it's just whatever. Like, I'm not going to let something like that bother me, because at the end of the day, it's like if you meet somebody, it's all about who are they now, not who have they been in the past or what they did. Because we've all done stuff that whether we're proud of or not proud of, or this, that, and the other. Like you said yourself, we've all been there. So when you meet somebody and you're considering a relationship with that person, it's who are they now? Who is that person at that point in their life now? Not who were they 10 years ago, or who are they, who are they now, and who are you meeting now, and who do you hope to form a relationship now? And what are their values now? Those are the things that I think are important when you're meeting somebody. I think sometimes we get too much in our heads about, oh, she's done this, she's done that, and all your boys are in your face. Oh yeah, I smashed her last week, and it's like, we kind of get too much in our heads about these things. And at the end of the day, it's like, who is this person now? Do you like her now? Does she like you now? Do you see something there? Everything else is just circumstantial. Like, I feel like sometimes we look for a version of perfection that doesn't exist, or if it does exist, it's extremely rare. And relationships aren't always about finding the perfect person, but just finding somebody who right for you and you're right for them. And it's never going to be like everything you want. I just say you're never going to be everything they want. It's just you have to find that balance between, okay, the important things are there, the values are there, that sort of stuff is there. Everything else you can work with. You know what I mean?
Amen.
And
no, that's a good word.
Too much our heads about these little things that ultimately don't really matter.
I'll say this, right? I met this young lady and she got a pass, but talking about the one I actually did, we were, about to go the distance with. She had a pass, and I was willing to look past her mileage. I'm sorry, I'm going back to that again. But I was going to look past all that. You know what I mean? I was going to do all that. But unfortunately, her past outweighed our future, and it didn't work. And I'll say this: between her and now, the women, and again, maybe it's just the area I'm at. Maybe you're in a better area, but the women with the mileage. Look. Literally, every woman I've been from church to work, these women just want and I know I just said women hold attention more than sex, but I also said when you're messed up in the head, you you are confused. And these women just wanted sex. They didn't want to be my wife or be the mother of my children, because at the end of the day, dude, like at the end of the day, like I understand you might be on your bachelor, your Bruce Bigelow phase. You like, I ain't looking for no wife. I ain't looking for no marriage. And you know what I mean? I ain't looking for no kids. But at some point, you're gonna have to realize that, hey, you got instruments down there that does this thing called multiplication, and the creator didn't give you that just so you can shoot it on the back of your you know your one night stands, or on the toilet seat, or on the floor of the bathroom. You got to wipe it up with alcohol. Like, you know what I mean? That stuff is to multiply you. And at the end of the day, I feel like men, it don't matter what age, but I feel like somebody got to be young. Because if everyone's having babies at 40 and 50, you're going to be so tired. You ain't going to have no energy for no children. And you're going to, guess what you're going to do? You're going to throw them in daycare. You're going to throw them in public school, whatever have you, whatever. You're going to throw them in these places. And that's really the goal, to be honest. This society wants us to have kids at old ages, so we're tired to raise them, and we let the state raise them. We let the government raise them. We let other people raise them. Like, if you just look at what's going on in schools right now, I'm not going to get too deep in it. I'm just saying that you want your kids being raised by these people who don't have your values, who don't have your standards of living. And that's what happens when you're having kids at old age. You're literally throwing your kids to the wolves because you're too tired to raise them. You let TV raise your kids, and you don't want to tell. Look,
Well, what was you
it's
saying that?
literally
I mean, you said about earlier about going to the gym, so you could be at 95 lifting boxes. So I guess if you're going to the gym, by the time you're 40, you got the energy to raise your kids.
like I said, man. Someone's got to have energy. Someone's got to be young, and I say this: it's better for. And look, this might come across as a shot to all the cougars out there, but out of the man and the woman should be the younger. Because listen, and I'm not trying to crap on folks, men who dated older, right? Who dated older women. Heck, I was gonna date an older woman. I was gonna marry the woman that I was telling you about. She was older than me, but anyway, but I would say the woman is best to be youngest because she's the one pushing these babies out. You know what I mean? You're gonna be pushing these babies out at 40 and 50. They're gonna listen. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, women are incredible. Women are so smart, so strong, so amazing. Women are so amazing, and they're using all that amazingness. And again, I'm not crapping on these women who do that, to chase careers, to be someone else's employee, to be 9 to 5s or CEOs, and do this thing that traditionally men used to do. And I'm like, man, and a lot of people might say, "Oh man, that's good. That's go. You go get it, boss girl." But I would say, man, you know what I mean? Something that only you can do. You're gonna wait till you're old to do it. The joys of motherhood. We don't. Women don't tell women that no more. The joys of being a wife. We everybody is downplaying those joys. Like, women are so amazing. Your mom, my mom. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they should be the young ones in a relationship. And I'm not saying having babies at 14. The legal age in America is 18 and above. I'm not even saying having at 18. But, when you hit your 20s, you should start thinking about it. At least when you hit your 20s, you start thinking about it. Women should, because the woman now that I've been, seeing, between that girl, the love of my life at the moment, to now, you know what I mean? These girls not thinking about it. These girls are narcissists, and they full of themselves. And I blame social media, society, you know what I mean? Because these young women, they got ambitious goals and stuff like that, but you really putting your biology on hold until you're 30 and 40 so the government can raise your kids, so TV can raise your kids. It's all messed up, man. And you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, obviously everyone's different in their opinion, but
Yeah,
I'm just
I
seeing
think
it from the outside in.
I think I'll agree with that. I
Yeah.
think yeah, it's something that people should think about. Um,
Yeah.
and as you said, like it's not impossible to have kids later on in life, but let's be honest,
Yeah.
it's hard and it can present
Mm,
certain health risks. But it's something people need to
mm,
think about. I think that's true.
yeah.
That being said, I also believe
Mm-hmm.
it's a very valid, viable option to say I don't want kids. For whether a man to
Mm,
say that or a
yeah.
woman to say that. And I mean, I don't know what the stats and statistics are, but I'm somewhat assuming that the women you're meeting have decided they don't want kids. And I
Yeah, they
think
don't
that's
want.
a
Yeah.
fine decision. And I get it. There's always going to be the woman who says, 20 years old, I don't want kids, I never want kids, gets to, 39 and is like, I really want kids. And I get it. There's always going to be that exists. But ultimately, you make decisions that you feel is best for you at that time. You may one day regret those decisions. You may not. You may live to your 95 years old and be totally fine with never having kids. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody has to make their choices and we
Mm-hmm.
make whatever choices we think are right for us at the time. And I do believe it's important to evaluate your choices as you go along
Yeah.
and make sure you still believe the things that you believe or still want the things that you want and never be afraid to change your mind. Whatever you said last year doesn't have to be the same thing you say this year. So yeah, I do think it's
Mm-hmm.
something that people should think about. But if someone decides that they don't want kids, that's a valid decision to make. Like they don't have
Yeah.
to, and
I hear you.
regardless of whether they have the tools for it or not, whether they're capable of doing it or not, they don't want to have children. And honestly,
Mm,
I feel like it's probably worse for the kids if somebody who never really wanted them felt very pressured into having kids, had kids, and now is
mm-hmm.
feels stuck raising this child that they never really wanted. And maybe it turns out great. Maybe they end up loving a child and it all
Mm,
turns out great. Maybe it doesn't. You know what I mean? Maybe they
yeah.
just end up resenting the child because now they feel like they've lost their youth. That sort of thing. So whatever
Mm-hmm.
decisions people feels right for them at the time they're making them, we just got to respect that and say, okay, you know
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
it's your choice. It is what it is. And for yourself, I'm assuming you do
Mm.
want to have children. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, try. I guess it's about trying to meet somebody who shares that same wants. And I don't know. I mean, I don't particularly like apps myself, but maybe that's one thing to pursue or to look at. Maybe not Tinder. Though. Tinder's probably the worst one to
Yeah. They
go
just
with.
hookup culture.
But
I'll say this,
but yeah, just
Bandit,
trying to
and
find somebody who shares that. I guess that's kind of outside of who you're meeting at the moment.
and like I said, it might be the area I'm in. This area I'm in is very liberal, so they're very free when it comes to, um, when it comes to these things. And it's funny. I'm in Texas, and in this area I'm in is very liberal because every part of the country is different, but every state isn't. Like Texas is normally more conservative than liberal, but there's pockets in Texas which I'm in that are more blue than red, and these women are more free in how they want to live their lives. They don't want to be tied down with children and stuff like that. And you might say, just move out, man. But this is the thing. Texas, you know what I mean? Conservative women in Texas are normally um, what? And they don't like black. You know what I mean? They look at their daddies and say, "I want a man like my daddy," and their daddy usually a white. Like I said, I'm not knocking off no white folk, but I'm down with everybody mixing up together. Let's all have mixed babies, baby. But what I'm trying to say is, in Texas, maybe I need to go to another state, but this is where I believe God has me at, and I'm just running into these women and I'm like asking God, like, Lord, everybody here, they don't want what you want. Because see, that's the thing. I'm coming off the sense of like if your mom or your dad, they want you to multiply because they want grandbabies. And God, the Heavenly Father, He wants more of His children, more people, He wants grandbabiys. And he gave you these instruments called a penis and a vagina, testicles and ovaries to do that. And for you to say, like I said, it's your choice, right? We got free will, baby. You can say swerve to it, whatever. And I connected back to like me and you are black, right? Or quote unquote black. Technically we're brown. This is black, but anyway, um, all I'm saying is in our families, in our community, there's a lot of children born out of wedlock. A lot of babies get aborted, and all this could be avoided. Single moms, oh my goodness, in America, the single mom issue is crazy in the black community. All these issues can be resolved if we connect sex with baby making. And if the person don't want a baby, salute to you, then stop letting men smash them or stop smashing women then. And you may say, wait, hold on, Alex. Whoa, wait a second. I like my dick getting wet. I don't want to stop doing that. But I'm saying, no, homie, we got to connect this with baby making, because in the black community, we're killing each other. We're killing ourselves with abortion. We're killing ourselves with single moms and single parents and stuff like that. We are, like, in America, at least, we're our dollar has our power in the dollar has just shrunk. Like, you hear of Black Wall Street, and you hear of these families in the past that had their crap together, and now we just a mess in 2023 now, in this generation, in this now, and in the black family, just the black community. We need a dramatic change, and it's a lack of this type of talk, right? I'm trying to this thing I'm promoting is me coming from this standpoint, this skin color, this society, this community. You know what I mean? Because that person who don't want to have kids, then stop having sex then. Oh, I don't want to do that though. Yeah, then shut up. You know what I mean? Like, we got to connect with baby making, because that's literally how you make babies. If you don't want to connect it, you want to say la la la. Let me take my pill. Let me do this and that. You know what I mean? To avoid the responsibility of a child. Goodness, I could just go on for hours on this one topic alone, but I'm not. I'm not. You like. Wait a second, bro. Wait a second. I only got you for. And to be
No, you good,
honest,
you
I'm
good,
I'm
you good.
good. Good. And
Uh,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you good. But yeah, I mean, you may very well be right. I'm not gonna try and venture to know what's going on in yeah, in Texas and America and the politics. And I know that it's a whole culture that, when for the outside looking in,
Come on.
it's mad for us. Like, I'll tell you that much. Like, when we look at American culture and American politics and American sort of situations, a lot of it comes off as like, "Yo, is this place even real?" Like, that's how it comes off to us. So,
It's outside.
you may very be right, but I'll tell you what else we think though is that, whatever the answer to problems are and solutions are, whether it's what you said or whether it's something else, or some kind of
Mm,
combination. I think
mm.
ultimately, in the end, people can do what people are going to do, and
Hey,
there's
free will,
nothing
baby.
you're going to do to be able to stop that. Like, we're going to have our
Hey, free
opinions,
will.
we're going to have our ideas, we're
Hmm.
going to have our thoughts and feelings and this and the other. But at the end of the day, people are
Yeah.
going to do what people are going to do, and
Yep.
the only thing you could ever control is yourself and what you do.
Amen. Come on.
And you could choose to get angry and get mad,
Mm,
and that
come
usually
on.
doesn't go anywhere. Or you can choose to be like, you know what, let me just work on the things that I can control, and at
Yeah.
least do that. And then maybe it
Hmm.
doesn't, maybe the problems persist, and maybe the problems persist long
Mm,
after we're dead and buried, or dead and burned,
mm.
whichever way. um
Whoa. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
whichever
Save
way.
money that way. You know you save money that second way. Yeah.
Or just dead and drowned in the sea somewhere, like, however it
Whoa, chill.
happens.
I don't receive that. No, hold on. You went far left on that.
However it
Nobody getting drowned in
happens.
no sea.
Um, but yeah, long after we're gone, maybe these problems are still there. Maybe these problems persist until the end of time. But all you can do is all you can, and you can't control other people. You can't control this situation. You can
Hmm.
offer your opinions, you can offer this, and you can say what you think. But end of the day, they're gonna do what they're gonna do,
Yeah, free will,
regardless.
baby.
And
Hmm.
all we can do for ourselves is what we think is best for ourselves again. So
This nutty, man. We came from Xbox Game Pass to to how jacked up the
We had a range.
I
Yeah, we had
don't
a
want to.
range.
We had a range from there to I wanted to say hookup culture, sex drive, all that stuff. Like, and it's just stuff, you know what I mean, that I've been learning from, my life. I'm 31, by the way. My birthday was March 9th. Um,
Oh, that's recent, isn't it?
so
Okay, what, a few months ago?
yeah, yeah.
Hey, March 9th. That's Iggy Smalls the day was passed. You were born
So Biggie Smalls died.
March 9th. What year was you
Yeah,
born?
1992. I could tell. You don't need to look it
Oh
up.
no, he was okay. He didn't die. Okay, no, it was okay. You weren't born a year. Okay, no, never mind.
Hmm.
It's the same day, not the same
Yeah,
year. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Biggie Smalls died and on March 9th. Okay. I think I did hear that before.
Yeah.
I don't know what that connection is to me though, but um, hopefully, is a cool connection. Maybe I could find out in the future. I don't know, but I'll say this, man. At the end of the day, I'm getting older, and I pray to get wiser because I was an idiot growing up, a complete fool. But you live and learn, right?
Indeed.
You know.
Indeed.
And go ahead.
Um. Yeah. So let's kind of bring it back to sort of like geek worldly stuff. So after after all these experiences and all these kind of sort of life lessons and things that you've been through and sort of opinions and where you are mentally and everything else, do you
Hmm.
feel you could ever come back to YouTube or any kind of social
Mm.
media in any kind of way like that?
Man, come back to YouTube. And obviously you mean Gamer for Days Raw, that YouTube
Or
channel.
or
I,
anyway, it
I
doesn't necessarily have to be
or
gaming,
any
but do you
kind
think
of
you
way.
could come back to YouTube in any kind of content creating form?
Bandit, anything can happen. Heck, you got me back on YouTube today. You know what I
Through that.
mean? I haven't been on YouTube in years. You got me back today. I don't know what were we talking about. You say, hey, we could talk about this on the channel. What were
Okay,
we
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Was the thing about was it Dove? The
The
advert they
woman
posted?
in gaming. Let
Yeah.
me say this, you mother, you, so you got love yourself, and I got from it. What they said, we're over sexualizing women. Let me say this, man. Let me say this, okay? At the end of the day, in that sense, if you're using your sexual energy positively, right? Um, big breast women on video games or big butt women on video games, that's not going to push you over the edge. But if you're not using your sexual energy in a good way, right? If you're not spending that testosterone, if you're not, using it in a positive way, it's going to go into a negative way. And you look at these women in a sexual way. You look at these women in a sexual way. But I personally, Bandit, I like things and beautiful things, right? Personally, I like looking at those things, right? Healthy things. And unfortunate to the left, healthy good. They tight. A healthy man is tight. We not swinging. You know what I'm saying? So my stance is, if you want a sexy video game character, or appealing looking character, that's what you want to do. Look at the Japanese, the East. The East have beautiful character models all over the place. Genshin Impact is, to name a big game that in recent years gotten popularity. But I can understand women saying, "Oh man, you know what I mean? We all don't look like that. We all don't look like that." You know what I mean? And I agree with you on the sense of love yourself. Don't fall in love with yourself, but love yourself. I agree with you on that. But when it comes to over sexualizing women in video gaming, I don't know. Name one video game that's not the East. Everything is tamed, from The Last of Us Part Two to Tomb Raider to Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, everything is tamed. Every woman in the last 10 years have been tamed. So I don't understand this over sexualized woman coming from. because everything is tamed in the West. In the East, they outside with jiggle physics. You know what I mean? They ain't touching the East. And quite frankly, they shouldn't touch the East because everyone, like you said, is different. Like we agree on, everyone is different, and everyone can take what they can take. But apparently, the West can't take beautiful women in video games. Apparently, we can't take it. Don't go turn into apes if a beautiful woman is portrayed on a video game. But I don't know what. That's
Yeah, I
why
mean,
we.
I think I'd agree
Yeah,
with
go ahead.
that. Sometimes the over sexualization term is probably overused in and of itself. I mean, sexualization it could be many things. You know, whether it's bro, you could sexualize, I don't know, cabbages if you want to. You know, like you could.
Put them both together.
It's so yeah, I do
No.
feel that it's that term is kind of somewhat overused at times. I mean, I personally don't have an issue with the women that we've seen in video games. Of course, I'm probably not the one to be speaking on that. But yeah, I think in terms of confidence in yourself, of course, we always need to have some kind of confidence in ourselves, and representation can help with that. It shouldn't necessarily be the only thing that we use for to gain confidence, but it can be a big part of helping that, whether that's through video games or things like that, and people just seeing somebody that somewhat represents them in some way. So I understand that there is kind of a need for, and also I think just in terms of creativity, it's just
Mm-hmm.
not a bad idea to not have the same character models or put the same character models in every single bloody thing that comes out. So yeah,
Hold
there
on.
are
What do you
definitely
mean by
positive.
that? I want you to elaborate. What do you mean by that?
Well, if every
Character models.
character looks the same or is designed the same way, it's going to get very samey very quickly. So I don't think it's a bad idea to just have
I need
different types of
examples,
models.
Bandit.
Okay, okay. Like for example, if every female character is skinny, and by the way, I know there have been some larger characters in the past, but I'll just say like if every character, vast majority of video games would be a thin female. You very
Mm-hmm.
rarely see larger females in video games unless it's maybe a minor character, something like that. In terms of like the forefront in games, at least in the AAA space,
Okay.
you very rarely see, say, larger women, mostly thinner women. Um, so yeah,
Wait now. We do see larger women in
I said
Horizon Zero
rarely,
Dawn. There's well,
rarely.
okay. Name a game where the recent game where all the women were skinny.
A recent game where all the women are skinny. I mean, the last game I
Yeah,
played, uh,
you better not say Tetris.
Tetris. That might have been the last game I
Yeah,
played actually.
the last game I
Oh,
played was checkers with my grandfather. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cyberpunk 2077. Um,
Cyberpunk had big woman
it
representation.
does, it does, and hold on, and to be fair,
Trans. It
hold
had
to
trans
yeah,
representation too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, okay. No, I mean, to be fair, I've not completed Cyber 2077. I haven't met everybody in it, but so far, most of the women you meet in the game have been thinner women. Now I'm about 20 something hours into the game, and most I believe have been thinner women.
You remember the bartender that Jackie takes you to talk about? You get your name in the drinks. You get your name in the drinks. Like people who got their names as drinks did something wild. Cora, the bartender. Obviously, you're not further in the game,
No,
but
no, no. I think I
eventually,
remember the bartender. Yeah, 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 yeah.
you and her, you guys, do missions together. But
Also, I don't think I've done missions with her, so maybe not that far.
but technically, it's a cop out because Cora is actually a man, a biological man that transitioned into a female.
So she's a man,
So
sorry.
low key, as far as people with voices, Cora is now used to be a man, now transitioned to a female, big character, got some bone, some meat on. But looking around the world, you see representation of big women and skinny women and small women and thick
Yeah,
women. You
sure. I'm
you
not
see
saying.
that.
By the way, I'm not saying there are no big women in game. I'm just saying you don't see it very often. So I understand that if you are a larger person, seeing yourself in the front and center, seeing somebody who's a larger person in front and center
Mm.
is a rare
Okay.
thing, at least as far as I can tell. I mean, look, I don't play every single game, so
Mm-hmm.
so maybe there are some games I just didn't know about. But from what I know, for what I've played
Mm.
at least, so the point I was trying to make though is that I understand that representation is an important thing. I don't
Mm.
believe it should be the only thing that people look to, but it is an important thing.
Yeah. And I'll say this, like I said, in the West, we have taken that to the max, right? Of representation as far as big women, sexuality, and all that stuff. We have taken it to the max, are going to the max. But in the East, they all skinny. They all look good. Like Japan, women shame women. Women shame themselves if they gain too much weight. And I think that's kind of, taking it too far. You know what I mean? Don't shame them. Just encourage them to lose weight because they connect being out of shape as being unhealthy, and they look at it as a burden on society or their family. Because I just watched this video of this big old girl, bless her heart. She was trying to walk into this plane. She was walking in this plane in the aisle, and her body was literally the width of the aisle. And she was like having to turn sideways and bumping into the aisle. And she said, "I wish this plane was bigger." I'm like, brother, I'm like, when is it your fault? When is it your fault? It's the people who designed the plane. You gonna blame someone else? Like at the end of the day, the East, these people know something we don't know, obviously. Diabetes, back to the black community, diabetes, overweightness. This stuff is rampant in the black community because we love fried chicken and popcorn and Kool-Aid, you know. But being unhealthy is not good. It's a burden on you, and it'll be a burden on your family also. And the East understands that, so they make sure the content their kids see, the content their people see, is healthy, healthy,
I
healthy,
mean,
healthy.
to be
But
fair though, Japan is a
yeah,
smaller island, so they probably.
I'm saying China too. I'm saying Korea
Just
too.
saying,
I'm saying
you can't have too many
The
big
East
people on
in
a small
general.
island. you know?
Hey, come on, man. I know, right? They like if we too big, this island might sink. But
No, but for real, I mean, jokes aside, I mean,
yeah, no, I
yeah,
like it. I
it's
like it.
yeah. I mean, I get it. We have different kind of attitudes towards certain things over there than we do over here, and I mean, again, for me, it's kind of back to choices. Like you said, like of course, we understand that being too big could be unhealthy. Just as being too skinny could be unhealthy, and I think we all have an understanding of that. But in the end of the day, it's like all you can do is if you have a genuine concern about somebody, you could try and speak to them and say, "Hey, look, I've noticed such and such and such, and maybe you should try this." But at the end of the day, is like if they're an adult, it's their choice, and
Well,
as long
baby.
if you said your piece, it's like what I mean. There's only so much you can do. You can't force somebody to eat healthy foods. You can't force somebody to work
No.
out. All you can do is say, "Hey, look, I've noticed you doing this. Have you considered such and
Mm,
such?" If
yeah,
like I say, don't shame people. Try to help people if you can. But if they're
yeah.
still making a choice to not exercise and not, it's like there's not really much you can do about that. It's
Word,
just
word.
it just is what it is. So I'm not saying
But check
I'm not
this out.
suggesting don't care and leave, but I do feel like oftentimes the way we talk about this certainly the way we talk about it in the public spheres
Hmm.
can be very demeaning, very demoralizing.
Hmm.
We're often
Yeah.
insulting people. We're not always looking at the actual root cause of why somebody might be overweight,
Hmm.
and it's not just it's because it's not always a simple case of they ate too much. There's often
Mm.
very much deeper reasons
Depression,
behind, yeah,
trauma.
depression,
Yeah,
exactly, trauma, all of that. So when you
yeah,
start cussing somebody out on the internet, you could
mm,
actually be making it a whole lot worse, for
yeah.
them.
They
So
might say, "I'm gonna get a burger after this conversation."
right, so I do feel in general just needs to be a lot more compassion, a lot more consideration.
Compassion,
How we talk
empathy.
about this, when we talk about this, and all. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do. You can't be with
Yeah.
someone and force them into. You can't.
No.
All you can do is be there if they need help, be
Yeah.
compassionate, all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's their choice to make, and they may make a choice that
Yes,
you
sir.
don't agree with. They may make a choice that
Yeah.
is going to lead them to an early grave. But if
Mm.
you said your piece, you know what I mean. It's
That's all you
yeah,
can do.
yeah.
No, no, that's a good word, man. That's a good
Mm.
word, Bandit. And to cap off the whole over sexualizing women in video games, they over sexualize men in video games, man. Like they show us
Oh,
with our shirts off and abs, and that what connects to what I'm saying. Like
I mean, I
if
wouldn't
you're
say
gonna
over
promote,
sexualized. I'm not sure we're sexualized enough, to be honest with you. Like,
you
we
outside,
sexualize
you
more.
want you want you want penises swinging in
We need
games.
all
I'm
of
done.
that. Big dicks and
Yo,
everything. Just like...
you outside. Let me say this. At the end of the day, you're right, right? Like when I make a character in a video game, when I have the option to make a character on a video game, I'm making them fit, strong, and beautiful. Because I've read the comments on that tweet when Dove, the soap company, and I don't know if you read the comments, but they said, of
Not
course
really
they
comes
want
to.
you to be out of shape. They want you to be out of shape so you can have more body to use their soap, and more body to use their soap. They can sell you more soap bars. And it's funny, Dove, out of all people, are jumping on their I guess social justice war. But in the comment section, women were saying games are escapism. Some women, like you said, trauma, baggage, problems. They trying to lose the weight, whatever is not working for them. Video games are is an escape from reality, and they can make their perfect avatar and just live their perfect life in the digital space. Yet these companies are saying, if you want that, go to Japan. Like at the end of the day, man, cyberpunk is a great example of representation of all kind of women. But the skinny woman in that game, brother, they look great. Like the character models are amazing. Now look, like I said, they got big women walking around too, but there's only like literally like three or two. They're like, are you skinny? Are you big? There's only two. They might have a middle, but that's literally the character models, the female character models of Cyberpunk. And when you see good looking people, your response should be, obviously it's not always the response. It should be, yo, I want to look like that, and or I want to be with that. And low key, that's what my story is too. Before I went on this gym journey, uh, because of testosterone levels, when I made that Instagram muscle bound channel, I was just looking at other people looking stronger than me, and I was like, man, I need to go to the gym. And that is the worst reason to go to the gym, but at least it gets people in the gym and they start exercising. But it is the worst reason. You should go to the gym because men, you got a lot of testosterone, you got a lot of energy. You should put that towards your muscle growth and your body being healthy, but also because it's healthy. You should go to the gym because of that reason. You shouldn't go to the gym because someone else looks better than you, or you want to look better than someone else. Those are shallow reasons that once it gets hard and you just like, I don't need to. If you ever been to the gym, you get tired at some point. You get tired. You like, I don't want to do this no more. And if your only motivation was you want to look better than someone else, it could falter. But if, like I said, my motivation, if I stop doing this, I'm gonna be a hoe, because literally my sexual energy is like when I go to the gym. It's like it's like the Hulk. I'm always angry, and I use my anger to fight the villains, but switch it out to I'm always horny, and I use this energy to advance in my life. And at the end of the day, one day I will get a wife. One day I will settle down, and I pray she doesn't take the testosterone right out my. Usually that's what happens with married couple. They get the belly, they get the hair start thinning, because testosterone helps with hair growth too, and your hair starts thinning. You getting a lot of poo nanny at night. You're married now. You smashing every night, all throughout the day, all throughout the week, the month, whatever, and your testosterone levels drop like a rock, and that's why you see more women. Yo, I'm sorry, dog. I didn't even. Yo, you better get out that vagina, man. Stop it. You better stop. Get your testosterone back. I'm just kidding. Let me stop. But
No comment.
all I'm
No
saying is,
comment.
no
No
comment.
comment.
You outside. Listen, all I'm saying is, All I'm saying is, man, I forgot you were bald headed, dog. But anyway, but anyway, look, man, people, when they get in there, they settle down, they let themselves go, and I'm saying, don't let yourself go. Get back in the gym, use that testosterone, and your wife might want to throw your pants off. You tell a woman, I'm trying to stay strong, so at 95 we can still do this. You know what I mean? So I went back to my gym life, but going back to the whole looking good life. Look, they just mad that we look good, Bandit. That's the whole campaign against over sexualizing women. They just mad because people look better than them. That's what it is. Because this is jealousy. You know what I mean? Like Faye, if Forsaken, okay, for I don't mean if they over sexualize because you know that Forsaken game flopped. So I ain't saying over sexualizing her would
Maybe
have saved it.
Forspoken or
Did I say Forsaken? I keep saying Forsaken, Forspoken. But let's be
okay,
real,
okay.
sex sells, right? Sex sells, and I'm not saying make Faye, that's her name in the game, sexy, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, you know what I mean. If you had some jiggle physics, somebody would have bought that game. I'm just let me stop. Let me stop.
I
Uh,
mean,
yo, you better put that phone down. Don't look up no jiggle physics, man.
no. I'm
Hold on,
just
what you
looking at
look?
the character because I haven't played Forspoken. Look up the character,
Look,
so yeah,
she
I
looked
got a
like
cool.
she looked like a good character. She looked good. You know what I mean? She looked decent. But I'm telling you, the reason those near automata title look, the game from Platinum was good. The gameplay was good, but 2B, she was built different. The way she walked, the way she moved in the game, folks was looking at that game like I'm gonna buy it just for that game. And there's this new game called Stellar. Look this up, Stellar. I can't remember it. It was on a state of play. It used to be called the original name was Project Eden, I think, but I can't remember. But this chick, she jiggling all over the place, and 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 PlayStation promoted it last state of play 2 years ago, and now it's coming out this year for PlayStation, or I think this year. And I bet you any money that game is going to have a bigger following than Forsaken. Not because I guess so. Sex sales, man. I'm listen. At the end of the day, over sexualizing women in video games. My opinion is, you shouldn't over sexualize women because like, who wants to be horny all the time? I just said I'm horny all the time, huh? But 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 at the end of the day, you know what I mean. If you're married, playing an over sexualized woman, you outside because the only woman you should be getting hard for is your wife. You shouldn't be standing up at attention with no other woman. But anyway, um, they just mad they look good. That's all that campaign is. They just mad they look good. That's all that is.
I mean, yeah, me maybe. I mean, I mean, Dove have been around a long time, and they've been pretty consistent in their messaging throughout. Not just, I mean, Dove, they of course they're not cosmetics. What do you call it? Like I guess you call it a body care company. I mean, they sell like soaps and
Mm-hmm.
and they've pretty much had the same kind of consistent messaging from out about body confidence and loving yourself, and they've promoted these campaigns on even long before this video game thing they're just doing now. So
Mm,
they've had various campaigns over the years that have had pretty consistent messaging, and they've
mm,
used women of all kinds of shapes, like
mm.
and sizes, and from thinner women to larger women, and they've always done that. So I mean, I would say I'll struggle to believe that they're just jealous. Like I feel like that's probably not true. Um, but that
That's
being
my
said,
opinion.
yeah,
My
that being
observation.
said, I mean, who knows? I mean, end of the day, they're a big company. They've been around a long time. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Maybe they're genuine about their messaging. Maybe there's some ulterior motive. I mean, when it comes to any company, you always kind of look at them with a side eye when it comes down to it. No matter how good they come across, any large company, especially large companies, you gotta always gotta look at them with a side eye and be like, all right, you're
Yeah.
doing okay now. Your messaging is okay now, but one
One
day,
day.
one day.
One day.
So but Dove, I mean, I will say, I mean, I have used Dove products in the past because
I like
yeah,
that.
they make good products. You know, they do make good products.
Yeah.
But yeah, can't no complaints there at least. Um, but yeah, I think that might be a good place to start wrapping up. I think we've covered a good range of topics and things and spoke about it a lot. But I don't know, was there anything else you want to add, or something else you wanted to chat about before we depart ways?
You know, not really. You giving me a place to speak and bring me back here. That alone, I thank you for, because I missed this, having a conversation with like-minded individuals when it comes to gaming, and when it comes to the, and obviously we're different. We're obviously different. We have different opinions all throughout this episode. We were stating our different opinions, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean, we're doing it respectfully. Um we're doing it as adults, and we're not being children about it. Because I've seen other podcasts where people just go derail and they just go into children mode. And at the end of the day, it's funny. I love your platform
Thank you.
being professional, and also being, and letting opposite opinions and letting opposite viewpoints, giving that a place to stand in your community. Your subscribers, you know what I mean, they have someone, they have, listen, y'all drop the like, get more people over here, because this man is giving you content for free. Stuff for free. I did YouTube for years. This is not easy stuff he's doing. Appreciate your boy. Appreciate. Put in the comment section. All the viewers, just throw a thumbs up. You don't need to write no paragraph or a soliloquy or whatever. You just drop a thumbs up. Put a thumbs up in the comment section. Press the like button, and if you bold enough, share it. The stuff we talk about in this, listen, they'll try to, I ain't gonna even say that. All I'm saying is the stuff we talked about in this episode was hardcore. We went light in the beginning, then we went straight to the juggler. But all I'm saying is appreciate your man Bandit. He is working out here. And YouTube ain't the only thing, right, Bandit? You know what I mean? Or is it?
I dibble and dabble in a few areas, yeah.
Yeah, man. So give your boy a like, subscribe if you're watching. Actually, you should clip this part, put it in the first part of the video, so they understand. Oh, like, subscribe, and put a comment, thumbs up. I don't know, some way to let folks know. Support your boy Bandit Haze. And again, thank you, my brother, for letting me come back to this place.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. Been a good look. No, it's been an hour at this point, actually. It's been a while. Been a while. But I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me. You know, I'm glad that you enjoy the experience. I think for myself and doing this podcast, I do want to speak to people in the geek community, and a few people outside the
Oh
geek
yeah.
community as well. And yeah, like you said, we're not always going to agree on things. We're not always going to have the same opinions, which is of course inevitable. No two people agree on everything, right? That's just the world. But yeah, I do want to have a place where whether we agree or disagree, like you say, we could just kind of talk about it respectfully, and and that kind of thing. So I'm glad that you felt that. And yeah, if you feel anybody watching and or listening, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a suggestion of somebody you want to see me talk to, and so we can do about that. In the meantime, check out Raw's channel. It's still there. There might have been new content on it, but it's still there. It's
Blow the
still
dust
there,
off
right?
it.
It's you
It
haven't
is
taken it.
still there.
It's still there. Cool, cool, cool. It's
Blow the
still there.
dust off it. Blow the dust off that channel.
Yeah, blow the dust off. You might be watching videos from a few years ago, but there's still some good content on there. In fact, I'm pretty sure I believe I might be in one of them myself actually. So
In a lot
maybe
of
one or two of
podcast
them.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, definitely check that out, and leave a few comments there as well, so it pops up on his phones. It's like let them know you want Raw back on YouTube. Let them know.
Or maybe after this episode, they don't want me back on
Or maybe, yeah. Either way, let them know. If you want it back, if you said, nah, you need to stay away, man. Nah, nah, nah. Let them know. Let them
Oh, let me know. Let me. Oh my gosh.
know. But yeah, no, big up for coming through. Appreciate you chatting with me. But yeah, I did mention this before, but there were a few audio issues, but I think most of it still came through. So hopefully, people. I mean, I felt like I understood what you were saying. So hopefully everybody understood as well. But it was at one time where it was like a bit off. So hopefully it still came through fine for everybody to hear and understand. But if not, then yeah, let me know in the comments and see what else about. See what we can do about that. But yeah, man. I'm rambling too much myself. Let me, dude. Big up to you. Big up to everything you've been doing. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you for watching and or listening. Until whenever, if ever. Peace.